funny. The earlier OBS, like Open OBS, OBS Studio, whatever the fuck it was called, it had like a fade between scenes. Meow wow. Oh, cool. I can edit it now. Edit, cut, fade, duration, 500 milliseconds. Go, move to... Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. This is what happens when you actually look at the settings and mess with them, as opposed to just assuming they're totally fine before you go live. Well, welcome to Monday night, everybody. It's good to see you. Loxy, good. Good to see you tonight. I hope you're feeling better. I don't need to go into too much detail, but I do hope you're feeling better. It's fantastic. And chat box is working. That's exactly what I want to see. Cool. Hendo, good to see you tonight. I hope Monday is treating you well. Timberborn until the last very second. You're getting caught in Forex strategy games again. Which is how it goes. Like, you just play them until you have no more chance. You click one more turn until you're like, oh shit, it's 4 in the morning. Which thankfully I haven't been up that late in a couple of days. There was Thursday last week I slept really poorly. So Friday I spent nearly all of it in a daze, which is not a great way to pretend to do work. Because you don't feel smart enough to effectively evade work and do the stuff you actually need to. So you're just kind of anxiously avoiding work. And that's no fun. I'd rather unanxiously avoid work and be confident that everything's being done. I just don't need to physically do it myself. That's great. And but I did a very extrovert thing, and I don't always believe the dichotomy or the binary between extrovert and introvert, because binary is generally a simplification that doesn't help anyone. But I went to the first party of a post-lockdown Canberra, and it was fan-fucking-tastic. I was very tired and drinking a peanut butter stout beer, which was not that good. Surprising. For a little while we put masks on and then took them off whenever we ate something and quickly put them back on again, which was pretty good, relatively safe, until like an hour or so into the party, and we kind of woke up, and I started to just steal all the energy from all of the introverts in the room. And I woke up and I felt better, and I was excitedly talking to people and listening to them, asking them to tell me stories, and listening, full body listening, as anyone who remembers primary school may attest to. And just simply feeding on their energy, and like still, yeah, growing tired, but still excited and interested and enthusiastic about seeing all these people again. And those who did not reject said touch, which is fine and not a judgment at all, giving them hugs and pats on the shoulder and just feeding off energy of other people, which I sincerely missed, that's for fucking sure. I was inside too long, away from these people that I appreciate. And then, of course, the same thing happened again Saturday and during the day, until I decided, okay, I'm not tired of seeing people, but I am tired of doing other things. I would like to continue editing and playing Final Fantasy. So that's literally all I did Sunday. Fan-fucking-tastic. Felt like a mini holiday. Do a little bit of cleaning, look after the kitchen, cook something for dinner, but otherwise, just play Final Fantasy. And that is a great Sunday. It's a great Wednesday night, too, for playing Final Fantasy with the crew. And like, speaking of editing, we finished the second draft of this half of the novel, so I spent quite a bit of today anxiously sending the blurb that I wrote to people. Hello, Captain, and asking if they want to. Come on, kitty. Asking if they want to read a copy, and that's pretty cool because we're getting a lot of people were like yes, and now I only have to. Oh, Captain, you okay, little guy? Look up at the camera. Here you go, good boy, good boy. Now you have to only anxiously hope that they're enjoying it, or that they won't forget. But otherwise, like, really good day today. Really good day indeed. Yeah, good boy, Captain. Okay, do you want to sit on my computer? Yeah, make it slightly warmer. That's good. What a good little kitty. Regular size. I wish. 1 and 2. 2. There you go. Magic. Okay, we have some very quiet game audio in the background. We have some regular audio from the Dribble here. And let's get on with it, shall we? Maybe we're starting a little early. We've got 3 people watching us now, and it is lovely to have all of you along. We're going to finish the White March today, which means we essentially jump straight into Act 3 of Pillars of Eternity, and all the build-up where we've been talking to Andra last week, that becomes slightly more commonplace. So, if last week I said this is the part of Pillars that I remember, the things that really matter to me, these sort of traumatic moments when we're talking to divinities and they are stubborn and they are shallow and they're very, very obsessed with their own purviews and very little else, we get to do that again, and more so as the game progresses. So, I think we should get into it. We'll have a good time. Oh, we're jumping off the computer. What if I move Emma's bag so you can sleep on her chair better? Yeah? That better? Oh, you like that. You like that. Good kitty. There's a good kitty. I'm going to be my little friend if you sit next to me. We have a Marvel in the chair behind as well. And there are 3 of us in the room because Emma's out tonight. We'll play some Pillars of Eternity. What a good Monday. That is a little unfair, Luxie. No, I wouldn't call him a stinky kitty. Somehow he's managed to avoid that. Being online, I actually heard of a couple of other kitties on the internet who are called stinky kitties. The funny thing is, it's like completely new to me, so I don't know why. Other than the obvious, cats smell bad.
Hey.
Poking some people. Time for you to yell out and say if they're too quiet. Some cats are just stinky.
Then.
I wonder what's in here. We will go through that doorway in a moment. They make appropriate sounds at good volumes. Okay, so all cats have downsides, is what you're saying. Damage bonus when you're on low health. Thing is, usually you get hit a lot, so... As long as Barbarian is stationary, nearby enemies is second. That's pretty good. Oh, right. They make appropriate sounds at good volumes. Okay, that's good. I like that. That's a good point. I thought we were talking about cats. Drawbacks. Pluses and minuses of various cats. Pro. Cat does not scream at you. You should have min-maxed your cat. Oh. Just a shortcut to the top. That's good. And it makes inappropriate sounds at loud volume. Yeah. Well-meaning but very dumb things. What a good man. They say ginger cats, always tomcats, often stinky, but Captain luckily doesn't have that. He just... There you go. This path leads ahead to the outskirts of the Abbey. What would you like to do? Let's go to the Foundry. We're done. See, Lexi, that's hilarious because Adair is a character who does not share a brain cell with anyone, whereas Aloth does. Right? Heavy stones block the hall.
If you say so.
Well, there's Nestor again.
That'll do.
Couldn't finish that quest. Wheels and levers from minecarts lay scattered. So this is the fabled White Forge. Very impressive. I know several smiths in Crucible Keep who would dearly love to be standing where I am right now. Well, fuck them. How long were the souls of these pilgrims bound here anyway? Centuries? Releasing them back to the wheel was probably for the best. These smiths working the forge, though. What are their qualifications? Who trained them? Surely the forge isn't being used as effectively as it could be. I think it would be more profitable for everyone if the Crucible Keep trained smiths were brought in to run things here. Wouldn't you agree? Isilmir. Not Isildur. Destroy it. There'll be nothing but conflict if that happens. The people of Starwit don't like outsiders telling them what to do. Actually, let's do 4. You know what? Let's say, you know the White Forge only works for descendants of dwarves in the battery. You know that, right? What? Really? I guess that does make sense. I'll make sure to pass that along. All that's left to do is to write up a draft of the trade agreement between the terms and conditions we've agreed upon and present a copy to Tarvos. It'll still be a few months before the final agreement can be signed, but we've made good progress here. She bows. I appreciate the escort, Slam Shadows. Farewell. Stay here. That's good. I felt lying to her was a good idea because the other ones were still. You probably shouldn't for a good reason. I just wanted to say, no, piss off cops. It's straight up not going to work if you bring a cop in here. It's not that useful. Lavender wreath. Soothing, irritating. We can... eye-watering heat wafts from the mouth of the White Forge. The surface of the anvil hums with power. It's warm to the touch. Incredible heat ripples upward from the White Forge and laps against your exposed skin. A fragment of Abaddon's hammer grows warm in your hands, as if in recognition. It is only a fraction of the size of the original, but there is metal enough for you to create a hammer fit for a person of your size to wield. Small. In this forge, a fragment can be shaped anew. Recreate Abaddon's hammer. You call to mind every memory you have witnessed of the great hammer. The images coalesce and take shape in your mind's eye. You know every curve, every engraving. Even as a shapeless lump of metal, you can see the fragment for what it is meant to become. The fragment is slow to heat, even in the White Forge, and quick to cool as you work it against the anvil. Sweat drizzles down your body and puddles at your feet. Your arm grows sore with each swing of your forge hammer until you can barely lift it. Minutes turn to hours. As Abaddon's hammer begins to take shape, the ring of your own hammer against it takes on a familiar tone, one that you have heard in your dreams. With each strike, an image flashes in your mind. It was hazy at first, but gains detail as the hammer begins to resemble the original. Over time, the image becomes a frozen landscape centered around a crater lake. Eyeless patrol its frozen surface in droves, and this can only be the place Andra described, Karen's scar. The Eyeless pause here and there when you strike and look up, as though hearing the echo in the wind. In the distance, more details appear, and you can see other landmarks, Stalwart, Durgan's Battery, and you understand where the lake lies in the White March, where you must take this hammer. Finally, with a careful etching of the last detail with your chisel, the hammer is completed. No sooner do you make the final mark than you feel a pure, radiant energy pulsing from within it, like a mechanical heartbeat. There is an indescribable beauty to the shape and the weighting and the design. It feels as if this is a realization of the metal's purpose. You take up the hammer and its power rushes over you in waves and shakes your body so hard you nearly drop to your knees. The tremor passes, but a surge of power remains. The hair on your arms stands on end. In your hands is a faithful recreation of a divine instrument. Neat!
I thought it would be bigger.
Hey, don't insult my hammer's size, Aloth.
I've heard enough.
Darren. Sounds of an argument reaching from the stairs. Darien marches into the room, arms crossed, while Wengra bounds along behind him.
This threatens all of us now.
Matron Berrigan lumbers after Darien and Wengra, flanked by two stout ogres.
She's right. We've got to fight together.
You also recognize Adaric following them. His shoulders are rigid and his arms are clasped in front of him. Wengra sees you and points enthusiastically.
See, Darien? He'll tell ya. We can stop him.
Tension crackles in the air. Darien whirls and cuts Wengra off with a dropping motion.
If he's seen them, he knows better.
What's going on here? Here we have the leader of the Iron Flail, the Ogre Tribe Master, Matron, sorry. The person running the catapults in Durgan's Battery, and I think actually, sorry, Darien is like the current, essentially mob leader in Stalwart, and the Iron Flail captain, who's Hadaric.
Something killed a whole crew of hunters out in the wood. Tore them apart like dolls, insects.
Despite his steady posture, his eyes flit and flicker like flies, and his upper lip shines with sweat.
Something like the creatures that attacked my fort, perhaps?
Bingo! Berrigan mutters something to her escort, and they snort in agitation.
I told ya. All we gotta do is get him in range of these cannons, and then we blast him.
She brings her hands together in a loud clap.
We don't even know what they are.
He shuts his eyes and breathes loudly through his nose. I do. Everyone turns to look at you. They're known as the Eyeless. 2, but what they are isn't important. What matters is that they'll destroy us all, and more if they aren't stopped. Rational. I read that as passionate, my bad. 3, they're the playthings of foolish and irresponsible gods. Passionate. 3. Number 4, and if you want to live, you'll shut up and listen to me from now on. Number 5, the gods set them as punishment for your bickering. Hey chat, make your choice, friends. Not too long into the first stream, let's do it. It's tempting as 5 years. Yeah, tell these people that they're being jerks. How much are they really bickering anyway? Maybe they were bickering more before they walked down the staircase and the game just didn't show us. Which happens. Give it just a little bit more. Maybe Hendo has stepped away. And not everyone has to vote anyway. Alright, that's 2 votes for 2. Let's go. But what they are isn't important. What matters is that they'll destroy us all, and more if they aren't stopped.
At last, some sense. Will you listen to him, if not to me?
The destruction my dreams warned me of.
Berrigan's gaze is distant with horror. Suddenly she rounds on Wengra and Darren.
And your greed and recklessness have brought them on us all.
She rolls her shoulders back and bares her teeth at the 2 villagers. Rage hangs around her like a musk. Darren and Wenga each take a step back and square off against the ogres. No.
You burning our village didn't help matters none.
Wengra's feral grimace exposes needle-sharp teeth.
It wasn't my clan that attacked you.
Her nostrils flare.
No difference. One ogre stinks as bad as the next.
Wengra, what the fuck? Yeah, but the game didn't tell us what the argument... Like, if Slam Shadow's heard more of the argument, but we don't, that's odd. 1, calm. Okay, hey chat. We got 6 options here. So, number 1, calm down everyone. None of that matters now. And 2, Berrigan's right. You wanted something you didn't understand, and it's brought trouble. And 3, your interests never aligned with Stalwart's, Berrigan. I doubt that's changed. And 4, enough! You're all idiots, arguing over ancient history at a time like this. 5, Berrigan, did you come all the way out here to say I told you so? And 6, you may be right, Berrigan, but this isn't helping. Perhaps you should go. Yeah. I don't super like that we have... There are obvious ways to side with Berrigan and against Berrigan, but there isn't, like, explicit tell one person they're right, tell another person they're right. I think 1 is the best. None of it matters now. If you continue arguing, everyone's going to die. Berrigan and Wengra grumble, shifting on their feet and glaring sullenly. After a pause, Berrigan looks back at you.
I came to offer my clan's help.
She folds her hands. The others gawk at her.
The White March has been our home for centuries. We'll defend it alongside you.
The ogres flanking her grunt their assent. Your aid would be welcome. That's all we're going to do, right? That's all I want to do. She presents an ancient banded horn in both of her calloused hands, holding it out to you.
Sound it anywhere in the White March, and 3 of my best warriors will be at your side.
She bows.
Your battles become ours.
Thank you, matron. That is nice. You gonna say sorry, Wangra? You should.
What's your plan for dealing with them exactly?
Darren coughs into a fist. The eyeless are hidden at Karen's scar. I'll face them there. Wenger and Darren gape at each other in disbelief.
That lake's notorious. Folk never come back from that.
She breaks off, her eyes suddenly wide.
Oh.
You'll need all the help you can get. I have fewer men to offer than I would like, but the iron flail stands ready. Our siege weapons are at your disposal.
I like that we didn't kill him this time.
The same ones you threw at the battery's walls?
Darren bristles.
These Eyeless will come for us all if they aren't stopped here and now.
Adaric doesn't look at him.
Forget it. You're not bringing your army into our backyard.
His face flushes. It looks to you and nods.
Tell him.
So I may have highlighted number 3. I don't think I'm going to say it, but it's pretty good. 1. Darian's right. Adaric can't be trusted with an army so close to Stalwart. 2. Adaric's right. We need to work together. There's no time to worry about what's past, Darian. 3. Darian, I know you didn't just tell me what to do. Adaric stays, and that's final. And 4. Sorry, Adaric, but I'm going to defer to Stalwart on this. 3 is tempting, isn't it? God. It seems ridiculous to toss aside, like, assistance right now. We've seen how bad the Eyeless are, and how bad of a problem it is. It would be a absolute problem if we don't stop them here and now. The game itself, as written, is giving us many options to choose which people we carry in. You know? And I think that's good. Let's pick 2. Adaric's right. We need to work together. There's no time to worry about what's past, Darian.
Guess you're right. Won't be anything left of Stalwart if we don't stop these monsters anyway.
Exactly. He looks down at the spot his heel is ground into the grit. We'll assemble the Karen's scar and await your orders. Be ready, my friend. It will be a great battle. Adaric bows slightly and steps away. Okay, so now his left. Is Wenger and Darian now going to argue? Yeah, short any assistance at all made the Cadnua battle hard as fuck. Yeah. I'm sorry. Loxy didn't say fuck. An awkward silence follows. Wenger clears her throat noisily.
You know, those heavy cannons you fixed might come in handy.
She grins, a mysterious twinkle in her eye. Darian starts to groan. She holds up both hands.
Hey, hear me out. Karen's scar should be just in range for those guns. You just point out your target and I'll do the rest.
Why would we not do this? I see zero downside.
If those things are on the move, we don't have much time. If you're really gonna stop them, take this. It's the best of the ore we've pulled from Stalwart's mines.
He gives you a solemn nod.
It's not much, but it's good enough to make the old Pargrunen smiths proud.
Okay, so 1, music rocks here. 2, can you see what's happening here? The game itself is going, you did this side quest, so this person's coming to help you. You did this quest, so this thing is happening. Like, this... Holy crap, even if you don't design your adventures in a tabletop game to have this sort of payoff, just reach back into some random shit thing the party did, pull it forward by like 3 or 4 sessions, as in like it happened in session 7, and now something important's happening in session 10, pull it forward, and just pretend that it was so important, or so valid, or it mattered, and, oh, just satisfying, just beautiful. And, it doesn't stop paying off. They can do this again in, like, another 5 hours of play, and I'll be like, oh my god, they remembered.
I'm sorry about what I said before. Just don't take it out on the rest of the village.
He looks away. I don't remember what he said about before and what he's pissed. It wasn't even Wenger apologising for being a dick to the ogres. You may call upon the aid of crag ogres by using Berrigan's Battlehorn and Karen's Scar. You can call for the raid Saren's aid by using the Burning Pitch Trebuchet ability in Karen's Scar. You may call upon the cannons of Durgan's Battery by using the Heavy Cannon Blast ability in Karen's Scar. Never seen anything like it. Yeah, it's a cool hammer, huh? It's all mine. Exceptional plate armor. Oh my. Quick save. Travel directly to Karen's Scar. Dun 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 dun. Why quick save? Because you have guessed correctly. It's not as easy as it seems. Quest updated. Lair of the Eyeless. Make your way to the fragment of Ione Bratha. You ready, everyone? Destroy the Eyeless. I found where the Eyeless are based. Sorry, that was terrible, but very funny. Oh, look at them all. That one's got pointy things.
I'm starting to think you didn't pay Galvino near enough for me.
Yeah, he got the raw end of the deal, Devil. I assure you, you're amazing.
Whew, good thing I sold most of my jewelry.
Kinda don't want Manaha. We've completed her quest. She's pretty cool, but still, we could have a different person right about now. Wouldn't that be nice? Maybe? Get him. Chief Rendingmore! Do you think Chief Rendingmore is actually a bounty that we've just walked into? Oh, cool. Slam Shadows is wielding Abaddon's hammer. Legendary. 15 accuracy, 55% damage, plus 4 might. It gets better. Despite being topped by a mere fragment of Abaddon's original hammer, this weapon, now sized for Kith hands, is still an instrument of awesome destructive force. The faces of the Great Hammer's head still bear the tool marks of their creator. Not even the fires of White Forge could erase Abaddon's work. I forgot that happens. Hey, Slam. Alright, you can't do that in combat, but... please, demonstrate Abaddon's hammer. Alright, well, never mind. Bindable, yeah. See, that's a question. I don't know if everyone can bind it, or if it's just Slam Shadows. But, I think I'm going to make the choice. Once bound and cannot be equipped by any other character. Let's just do it, right? I think Slam Shadows can have a Warhammer in 2 hands as a main weapon, or take his spear off. And he can use his pistol as an offhand whenever it comes up. Yeah, I know it's a change. Let's give it a go. It's gotta be Slam. It just means that he no longer needs the Meg Folk Skull, because this gives him 4 might. So who else needs 4 might? Could have grown intimidating. Alright, let's do it. I'm so sorry, Slam, this is happening. Wait, what the fuck? He's got a sweet beard now. It's been a long time since Slam hasn't been wearing a hat. I forgot what he looked like. Alright, Slamwise Game G. To increase... to make it better, use the hammer to destroy the army of the Eyeless. Grants Ring of the Ancient Forge. 10 accuracy, 50% damage against Eyeless. Destroy Eyeless on the hit. Jeez. Alright, let's go. Good job, Slam.
Hey. Hey.
Oh.
Pues, Silves, me too.
Hey. Playing as a barbarian, getting a massive 2-handed hammer would be pretty sweet. Whoever this was, he's been long dead. What remains of the flesh is blackened and frozen solid. Touch the corpse. This cradle worries you and your three companions. It feels wrong, tainted, but the lure of riches is stronger. The giant rock in the center of the lake might contain gold, gems, more. It took a week of backbreaking labor, but the boat is finished. It may not be entirely watertight, but it'll be enough to get you across the lake and back. You set off from shore, the icy wind filling the sail. Saturn grins at you. He expressed the most doubt that the boat would float. A moment later, he's gone, barely managing to scream as a gigantic tentacle yanks him from the boat and under the water. More tentacles emerge from the water. The air is filled with the sound of cracking and splintering wood as the boat gets pulled apart. You dive into the water without a second thought and begin swimming madly for shore, hoping your friends are doing the same. Your heavy furs weigh you down, but by some miracle you make it to the land. You hear a burbling sound and look up to see one of the fish people. A Lagerfeth standing over you, its spear raised. You rise to your knees, your hands raised, showing you have no weapons, that you pose no threat. The Lagerfeth makes a sound again. Wait, you start to say, but the creature drives its spear deep into your chest before you can say anything else. Mercifully, the agony is brief before the world fades. We didn't learn anything there. Which is fine. Not all souls can teach you something useful. But jeez. No! Oh, man. So the best thing about ciphers, and we've said it before, is that their abilities, their chants, just go off when you're in combat. So it's perfectly reasonable for Slam Shadows to be a cipher using a two-hand weapon. Ooh. I just want to look to the top. We could probably go in that direction all the way around. He's a... not though? He's not a cipher, god damn it. He's a chanter. Ciphers, they're perfectly reasonable to have large two-hand weapons as well. Don't look at what we did to... to a poor grieving mother. A span of ice flows separates her two larger sheets. The flows continuously roil the water and bump into each other with arrhythmic cracks. Despite their unstable positions, the flows are packed tightly enough that it's possible you could leap across the span. Still, anyone short on grace and balance stands a good chance of sliding off the ice and into the frigid water. Blast of Frost. Let's cast the spell Blast of Frost on the ice flows. As you work your magic, the water between the flows crystallizes into a sturdy lattice of clear ice. Given the size of the flows, it is unlikely to keep the whole span stable for long. In fact, you can already hear a few of the larger pieces creaking against the temporary moorings. Jump across the flows. Your weight causes a number of flows to crack and shift dangerously as you cross, but the magic holds enough that you aren't launched into the water. With careful deliberation and cautious movements, you reach the other side safely. Yeah, right? That's great. That feels good. It feels good to be able to have that sort of solution to a puzzle. Your players would love it. And... oh, this giant eyeless up here. A stone piercer. Look at that. Oh! Scary enemies, that's for sure. Slam. Hit him. Slam Shadows affects Eyeless Stone Piercer with Destroy Eyeless. Done.
Hey.
Thoughts will be as silent as my feet.
Ondrite Fanatic. What are they doing here? Other than causing trouble. And charge. I didn't expect that to happen, to be honest. We're gonna do something very silly. Aleph, could you go bonk this paladin, please? Yeah, there you go. We'll get that next level, I swear. Lagerfaith Ciphers, yeah, there was one earlier as well. I think it's a good thing and relatively important to note that a particular type of magic isn't exclusive to like civilized. I say with heavy air quotes because it's generally used as
If
a
I
way to
find
just be
something
racist.
good, you can have half.
Races. Especially for something as natural as cipher magic as well. Like, all it is mind powers, and if you've got a sentient mind, it should happen to. It should be available to more than just humans and elves. Your standard fantasy races. Kith is what they'd call them. That charge is so damaging. I think Lagerfeth are. I mean, if nothing else, they use tools. I'm not super confident on what defines sentient or not, so maybe I'm making something up. Eyeless? Bonk him. Get him.
Hey.
This is getting
not-
nowhere.
Hey.
Theory of mind? Yeah, that'll do it.
All right
But
then.
even then, I'm just not sure.
Hey. Of course.
It's got to be at least a little worrying that there are Untitled fanatics here. Like, this is getting nowhere. Generally, it would be, I think it's a dare when he gets his main hand attack partially or mostly resisted by someone's defense stat. If we're playing on a more appropriate difficulty, we'd have to look at it and swap to another weapon type so that we're not getting resistances. It's a female voice. Oh, shit. Well, then it's either Manaher or Devil of Karok.
Leave it to me.
I'll keep an ear out.
Breath, stillness, me too.
A lot of loot here. Not all of it is particularly useful.
If you say so.
But it's like supposed to be the end of
Ain't that special?
White March, so
If
it's
you say so.
It's dropping a lot of fights at us. Cold water drips from the roof of this yurt and puddles in the
All right,
hearth. Woof. 50 freeze damage on a dare there. Someone carved a swirling crescent into the bench. Fish bones lie among the coals. This yurt reeks of stale sweat. There's only one bedroll inside. His yurt is empty, but for a few heavy bedrolls. Oh, I can just leave. Okay, so we skipped a lot of that by jumping across the ice floes. We didn't have to do that, but you know me. I'm going to. Whoa, Eyeless. Better run. Oh, more Eyeless. Slam runs up. Slam bonks him a couple times. They resist a little. There's only one broccoli inside.
You're not.
Aleph with Betcha Match. It's another tentacle. Pull the bear in to try and, like, counter and powers allies. Like, I pulled the dare in to, like, tank the tentacle, and instead, we, like, I get more of them. Burning Pitch Trebuchet, Heavy Cannon Blast, Item Abaddon's Labor, Carouse. That's interesting. Throwing rocks at you. Well, I mean, the tentacles. You've got to be kidding me.
Of course.
Devil, I am not.
You're not getting through me.
Wait.
Get him. Come on, Slam. Okay, that's some faulty pathfinding right there. Look at them all trying to run into melee range, but only these two are there. So we move Slam to the side. He can whack him with his hammer.
My mind feels sharp as steel.
It seems other abominations lie at the depths.
The planks have been peeled from the bow of this old fishing boat. So since we learned the eyeless were forged, it is interesting that they give vessel flesh. Gift of vessel is the setting appropriate for undead.
You're not getting through me.
Slam Shadows affected it with Destroy. Eyeless. Hammer is very useful. Here, maybe always. Slam destroyed it. See? They have...
Hey.
Remember the first fight against like two of them? Was quite dangerous.
All right.
Come with the right tools, it's not so bad.
Thing isn't doing the job.
Did you just hear Adair say, this thing ain't doing the job? That's they're having resistances.
Of course.
Just boots Adair backwards.
Really got it in place.
They really do. You can just make out the blade shape of an eyeless behind the ice. Shadows works with one hammer, one hammer, one hammer. Frozen eyeless. You only breath of fragment. Look, we've pretty much discovered all of it. Let's go. We fought some tentacles. Hammer vs. hammer. Slab, you're not stuck. Get him. We get a disengaged attack. And now, bonk. See? That was fantastic. So, on high difficulties where there are more enemies, right? And they're much harder to deal with. You can imagine these extra abilities they give you, like the Burning Pitch Trebuchet, which let's just use so we can watch it happen. Slam. Order them to attack. Could be pretty useful. Good job. Devil of Karok, sneak attack, death blow, and dealt with the issue. Dragon's Maw Shield, look at that! All soulbound upgrades are completed. We did it! That's the first one, well, not the first. The first one that you don't do just by walking to a place and sleeping. That's max level. Chance to cast Taste of the Hunt to get deal damage and a heal from it when you hit or critical. A fear aura just passively around a dare. 12 shield deflection, so doubles its amount. Very useful indeed.
Hey.
Grats Adair got himself a fancy shield. Now, playing on a low difficulty, so let's just rest. Because we can. Let's go in. And let's do a quick save again, because we just entered the lair of the Eyeless. Are we ready?
Good thing I'm freshly greased.
Devil, I'd love to freshly grease you. Tentacles. Hair of Ondra. Columns of water rise up from the pool in front of you, shifting and writhing, whipping air around them in a vortex. Law 2. This can only be Andra's hair, appearing before you at a fraction the size typically reported by mariners unfortunate enough to encounter them on the high seas.
You have done well to have come so far. I confess I was not certain you would make it.
Should have more trust, Andra.
But I do not wish to give false hope. The greater challenge remains in front of you.
Is it a drinking contest?
If only it was something that could be so simple.
Alright.
Running through the core of this rock is a large growth of crystal. You will know it when you see it. A blow to the crystal would reverberate through the walls of this place. Strike it enough and the entire structure would crumble. The Eyeless would be buried. Of course, it would take a person years to cause enough damage.
Intellect, but not with the help of the Eyeless.
Then you know what must be done. Strike the crystal with Obidon's hammer. The Eyeless will wake and come to its call. Join in striking the crystal.
Mm-hmm.
They will cluster together and bury themselves.
Boy.
I have realized it is best that they should be ended. For within each of them is a small piece of Obidon himself. Upon their deaths, those fragments and the memories they contain will be safely dispersed. I had not considered the dangers of allowing them to persist, until a watcher appeared at my abbey.
We convinced Andra, at least a little bit. Good job, everybody. You chose the right options. Also, actually, wait, I'm sorry, I don't mean to give false equivalence. I was making a lot of the decisions in that conversation because we were past 10 o'clock. Sorry. Shout out to everyone in the VODs who has recently watched that one, because he was good. Let's choose number 4. Hey, who says the gods are rigid ideologues?
The ideals remain. Only my methods have changed.
I'm glad you like it, Lexi.
A single strike upon the crystal will not be enough. The Eyeless respond only as long as the hammer rings. You will need to remain until their work is complete, wielding the hammer until the walls come crumbling down.
Hey, chat. 1, you mean for me to die here? 2, all things must come to an end. 3, I trust this is what had to be done. 4, you might have mentioned that sooner. And 5, the Eyeless won't stop until I am dead. I might as well return the favor. Or 6, I swear before you and all the other gods that you will pay for this. It's up to you. What do you think, everybody? See, Andre is convinced she's won, right? She's not gonna... If you die here as well, that's another thing that is forgotten. Slam shadows, the knowledge of what the Eyeless are, it ends. Question further. Alright, well let's go with 1 then. You mean for me to die here?
Your sacrifice will be mourned, but your fate is already sealed. The Eyeless cannot be reasoned with or fled from. One day not far from now, they would kill you and level the Deerwood. You have seen what they will do. This is the way you can stop them. And the truth is that you are marked by the Eyeless for a reason. It would be better for all if the things you have seen were forgotten. Ain't that convenient?
Thank you, Devil.
Crushing's a bad way to go. Maybe we should just hang ourselves.
You know that's a bad way to go too, Adair.
A great sacrifice for a greater good. A clean slate for us and the world. Maybe that's not such a bad thing.
The watery columns all drop all at once back into the pool, sending up a small splash. The pool settles, and looking down into it you see only the faces of you and your companions, alone and condemned. Addendum added, the Forgotten Army. Oh.
Quick, seal this.
Only one person can hold the hammer at once. Yeah, so do they all have to die? I think that would suck. That'd be pretty stupid. Footstep sounds acting a little weird. Hey, Slam. We don't have a sweet shoot cannons ability in here, which makes sense. I think giving yourself fatigue is a bad idea right now.
You're not getting through me.
Yeah, slightly horseful-like on the sound. I know what this bug is. It's not something you can actually fix. Just on some surfaces, the game does not appropriately render the walk sound. It gets worse the more people are there too, so you have like a party of one and it goes okay. That shield bash on the Dragon's Maw is amazing. He just bonk, done.
This is getting nowhere.
Grieving Mother effects with destroys vessels. Remember her St. Edwin's Redeemer, which she can't bind herself because she's not a cipher. As a cipher, she can't use it, but it just 25% chance to destroy vessels. This is getting nowhere. It did sound like Manaha.
Of course.
Ooh, a pool.
If secrets whisper here, I shall listen.
Judging by the claw marks and scales around its edges of this pool, you believe it is regularly used by Lagerfeth. You see something shimmering in the depths of the frigid, murky water. Who's got the higher athletics and con? Yeah, it's going to be Adair. I don't even need to look at the others. Go in, Adair. Adair dives in and immediately feels the cold bite of the water. The water is calm, but a person with weak constitution will suffer greatly if submerged for more than a few moments. Dive towards the shimmering light. The ice-cold water is too intense. Adair reaches the source of the glinting at the bottom, but is already going numb. Adair quickly recovers a cache of Lagerfeth treasures, including a variety of coins and a surprisingly well-preserved plate greaves. Unfortunately, the disturbance of the horde was observed by a pack of Lagerfeth that are swimming over to investigate. Hiding from the Lagerfeth will be difficult, but attempting to outswim them will require phenomenal athletic ability. Swim to the surface as fast as possible. Adair confidently launches off the bottom of the ice cave. Even with the Lagerfeth's treasure under one arm, Adair manages to easily reach the surface ahead of their clawing hands. Moments later, the furious Lagerfeth erupt from the pool. This adorable. Love it. Alright, dude, do what you want. He crits and he kills. And now it's 3. Love it. Oh, Luxy, put the wyvern egg in there. That's hilarious. For context, go watch the Final Fantasy II VODs.
My eyes are peeled.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Eyeless stone pizza. Bonk. Oh. Yeah, get him. That shield bash that knocks him down is just incredible.
No, you didn't see that.
Of course.
There's a crystal.
Maybe I should do this. Perhaps that's why Andr led me to you after all.
Who knows? Take a quick save. A ridge overlooks a broad chamber half flooded with lake water. You could crawl down this way, but it looks too steep and slick to climb back up. Climb down. Kraken! Defeat the Kraken. Tentacles. Kraken. Average adventure added. Whoa, well, we should do this. Average adventure, we've seen all of the adventures now, so it's actually not giving them specific names. You go on an average adventure, Pelagina. A curse of cold clay. Sorry. All across the Eastern Reach, people are being buried in graveyards and returning from the dead as vampires. Examination by locals have revealed that adamancers have tampered with several gravesites prior to the burial. Local lords have released bounties for the capture of whoever is responsible. Unfortunately, the rapid spread of events leads many to believe that a group, not a single individual, is behind the experiments. Yeah, to me, let's send Sagani, because she will find she'll find the solution real fast. Okay, no, that's dealt with. We gotta defeat a Kraken, right? Let's fucking go.
How may I help?
So much beyond her control now. Kakalot's freezing rake. Oh, he can't see them yet, so it's not gonna work.
That didn't work.
Nope.
Got him! Right here.
Oh shit. Devil got caught between multiples, so I just used one of her abilities to make her invisible. Adair, I'd really love if you could do something, buddy. That's it. Whoa, Kraken's down already. Devil as a rogue with dual weapons just deals so much damage. Excellent character. It's less clip cloppy and more squelchy now. Okay, that's it. That's the boss fight. Quick save. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's a weird lag spike, huh? An enormous crystal juts from the wall like a spearhead protruding from a wound. An army of reflections stares back at you from the crystal's perfect facets. It echoes the sound of your footsteps and soft ringing hums of wet clip-clops.
Let me do this. I've spent so long regretting my choices. It would be good to balance the scales.
Someone will have to take up Abaddon's hammer and strike the crystal. And Andra warned that whoever does so will be buried in this place with the Eyeless. Whom do you choose? One, yourself, Slam Shadows. 2, Adair. 3, Manaha. 4, Grieving Mother. 5, the Devil of Karok. 6, Aloth. 7, Draw Lots. 8, Summon Berrigan's Ogres. And 9, step back and consider this further. Seems like a dick move to summon the Ogres. Yeah, I agree. It's funny. A couple of other times while playing, I've said things like, you choose incorrectly, like you don't deal with this problem and you go finish the game and you get a couple of victory slides and then you get the thing that says, you fucking died because you didn't deal with the Eyeless problem. Right? And there are a couple of other choices. There's the one close-ish to the end, which is not right at the end, where it's like, do you want to... 9 does not let you confer with the party. You just start this dialogue again. You go back into the walk around area. In fact, there's like a dramatic moment where there's another choice like this, and if you don't do any of the other quests in that area, you just die, and your game ends, and it's considered a game over slide as well. It's like, well, good job. I want to say, choosing yourself does not end the game. Only party input is the dare not liking crushing and Manaher twice offering. Yeah. I know what happens, and I'm happy to... I'm going to give a little extra context. If you choose yourself, you don't survive by default, but if I remember correctly, Slime Shadows will. Or could. Manahat, Grieving Mother, and Aloth would die if you choose them. Yeah, I'm giving up the ghost on this one, I'm afraid, because it's pretty high stakes. They die, they do not come back. Manahat, Grieving Mother, and Aloth will die. Devil of Karok survives and returns to the party. Adair has a good chance of doing it, and Slam Shadows is a very good chance. And it's slightly more dramatically appropriate, I'd say, if Slam does it. But is she pissed at you forever for choosing her? She might be. It's funny, if you let Mana forget what her soul did beforehand, she does not want to be chosen at all. She doesn't... I think she objects if you choose it. She's like, no. I think Slams is good as well. I also, like... I'm going to quick save right before we do it, and if you want to see it again, vote, okay? We'll do that again.
Hey.
There's another way to make it slightly easier. Grab someone with lore, make and use a rite of youthful spirits to increase their athletics. Got another one? It's Burst of Summer Flame. And I think Speckleback Jerky gives intellect and perception. You can eat that before combat. Crunch. What else is there? You need write, not scroll. It's not cheating, it's being prudent. About to do this dangerous thing, I'm going to buff up. That's where the Barragan's Battle Horn entered. We didn't end up using it. Item type will do. Got that. Walking Shadows, Untamed Wild. Let's also take Untamed Wild. And Walking Shadows. What? Why? Because we can. We don't strictly know which ones will help.
Yeah?
But if we got buffs... Alice is not wearing... Alice not wearing a shirt because he wears incredibly light armor. So like the least recovery rate the better, so he can cast more spells. And his chest slot is Robes of the Tidebringer, which is just pants. But he's ripped. But also gives Martyr on Unconscious an extra might and a lot of damage reduction, more than the robes he was wearing. It was a strict improvement. Ads! Oh, terrible timing. Sorry, Endo. Okay. Let's do it. We've just quick saved. We've used all the rights. The buffs are applied to us. You can tell because they're here at the side. Look at him. Look at those rights. Athletics, survival, law, stealth, mechanics. His law is 21 right now. We can wait for Hendo. Yeah, of course. Decent stats. Brisk recitation. Yeah. enhance all of his or her attributes.
Let me do this.
Step back. My mouse did the you've pressed multiple times thing.
Wrong.
There you are, might 16. Okay. 23 intellect, let's do it. Slam has never been in better state.
Let me do this. I've spent so long regretting my choices. It would be good to balance the scales.
Manaher, there's more good you can do. Someone will have to take up Abaddon's hammer and strike the crystal, and Audra warned that whoever does so will be buried in this place with the Eyeless. Whom do you choose? Yourself, Slam Shadows.
You have led us bravely. It has been an honor to follow your lead.
You're welcome, Aelith.
The gods really have it in for you. I wish they knew you like I did.
They will, Adair.
I just hope you're not doing this for all those louts in Stalwart. Even the new ones ain't worth it.
Your sacrifice will save many lives.
You're a brave soul. Wish I'd met you sooner.
You take the diving helmet and tuck it away, just in case. You heft the hammer and swing it at the crystal. A perfect clear tone rings through the air and resonates through your teeth. Seconds later, ripples shiver through the water. Something big is coming. You give the others a final nod. The rest of the party scrambles out of the flooded cavern and flees through the tunnels. You continue hammering at the crystal, each strike magnifying the last. The echoes build into physical tremors. Meanwhile, a heavier rhythm pulses through the cave. Footsteps. Dozens of them. The others round a corner only to see a line of Eyeless advancing. The creatures stagger to the rhythm of the hammer thuds below, yet they crane their necks towards the party, ratcheting back their piston arms. Ukatoa. Hey, Wildwood, good to see you tonight. So, mirrored image, Bullpulsing Seal, Ringleader. Okay, Grieving Mother, cast Ringleader. Consider who will cast it. Okay, only Grieving Mother can cast. A pocket of Eyeless near the middle of the procession roar and turn on their neighbours. Chaos ripples down the line as the Eyeless turn towards the commotion. Dodge past. The party sprints past the distracted monsters. Fortunately, the creatures are too focused on the hammering to give chase. They continue toward the cavern. You maintain a steady tempo on the crystal. And now, the image has got Eyeless beating on it with us. Eyeless gather in the cavern where they batter the walls in time, the hammer's rhythmic blows. The ground shakes, falling rocks and shattering crystals splash to the ground. The party flees through dark, rumbling corridors. More spellbound Eyeless shamble along, but they're too entranced by the swelling cadence and to take more than an idle swipe at the party. The tunnel narrows. Light filters through ahead. The exit must be around the next bend. But it's clogged with rubble. Meanwhile, the ground drops several feet at once, and the tunnel begins rolling on its axis. A distant sound of rushing water echoes from the cavern. Twin stones? We don't know if anyone can cast it. Frenzy, requirement not met. We didn't let Manaha take that upgrade. The most recent level. Okay, well we better lever through the rubble with a pry bar. There must be a weak spot, but it'll take a practiced eye to find it. Who will clear the way? A practiced eye to find it. Would it be athletics or a practiced eye? Mechanics? I think that's a good choice. Maybe it's survival, though. What do you think, chat? Yep, it's a rough one. Did you hear me typing? It is in fact mechanics, and I think I'm going to choose Devil of Korok. The Devil of Korok notices a loose boulder and wedges the pry bar beneath it. A gentle nudge knocks it loose and sends the rubble rolling away. The moon shudders again. The party escapes onto the ice just as another thunderous crash sounds from below. Eyeless continue pouring into the cavern from every visible tunnel and crevice. Your eyes ring at the ever-growing cacophony of slashing rock and shattering crystal. Meanwhile, the water level is rising. A skull-splitting crack rends the air, and a surge of water knocks you from your feet. The entire cavern rotates, plunging you into a freezing soup of jagged metal, torn flesh, and stone. The others dash across the lake. The ice squeals and crackles, rocking dangerously underfoot. The sinking moon groans. Long fissures race across the ice. Kakalot's freezing rake! Aloth! A spectral hand sweeps the ice in front of Aloth. The ice sheets knit back together, holding just long enough for a safe crossing. At last, everyone reaches the safety of the shore. In the middle of the lake, only the tip of the moon is still visible above the ice. The survivors watch in silence as it sinks into the depths. You trudge through the rubble at the lake bottom. The water is freezing, the air in the diving helmet is acrid, and the sound of your own breathing roars in your ears. Still, it's better than drowning. You navigate out of the settling rubble and see the ghostly light at the surface above. At last, you reach the shallows. Tip of the moon. This is the third moon surrounding Aora, and the divinity Ondra did wish to drive the moon into the planet to bury it. And another divinity, Abaddon, is like, actually don't, and caught it. It's still sunk into the bottom of the lake. She summoned the moon into the planet. At last you reach the shallows. You punch through a thin crust of ice and crawl ashore, trembling but alive. Big maker energy. I am super excited to play more Stone Top. I really want Stone Top to come out. I want to read more of the lore and the world, and I want to do it. It's going to be great. You stand at the edge of the lake, and popping of the ice and rippling of the water surface slows until you're looking at a moment frozen in time. When the world begins moving once more, it moves in reverse. The surface of the water churns and roils like it's about to spew something up, and it does. A fragment of Ione Bratha rises, unbroken. Ice reforms across the surface of the lake, spreading in long, freezing fingers. Eyeless file out of the moon fragment and onto the ice. They wind around the moon in an ever-widening spiral. They stop as the head of their line reaches you. They speak in a single voice that resonates with grinding metal and hissing steam.
We shatter and sink, discarded like worn tools. Why have you consigned us to oblivion?
Lots of challenges in this little section. One, you tried to kill me. 2, are you serious? 3, you would have destroyed Cadnua, Durgan's Battery, and more. 4, you would have killed many innocent people. And 5, you are worn out tools, broken and useless. 2 votes for 4, looks good to me. This is a long convo, so we'll be moving pretty quick. I hope everyone is up to speed.
We do not cherish violence, but we will fight to defend the legacies of this world.
Defend the legacies. The Eyeless stand tall, ratcheting their arms back.
In one hand a hammer, in the other a mace. We protect the greatest works of civilization, lest it collapse beneath its own weight.
We've been told what Ondra believes the Eyeless are for. What do the Eyeless believe they're for? Then why did you storm Durgan's Battery 200 years ago? Their protest is as sharp as squealing metal.
We would sooner sacrifice our own bodies than dislodge a single stone from such a place. Why do you torment us with baseless accusations?
1. Tell that to the Pargrunin you killed. 2. You were changed from a preserver to a destroyer. 3. Ondra changed you from a preserver to a destroyer. And 4. Who else could have done such damage to a mighty Pargrunin fortress? You can see that 3 is strictly better than 2. You know? Or maybe being tools of Ondra, they would take offense to that. And normally everybody, we have a break at 8:30. And everyone in the VOD, shout out to the VOD, can just skip that 10 minutes, but everyone who's live will need to stand up and have a break. I think what we will do is have a break at the end of this conversation if it's past 8:30, or we will just wait until 8:30. Let's press 3. Undra changed you from Preserver to a Destroyer. The Eyeless is still, but you hear their gears whir as their collective spirit ponders this.
Then we were betrayed.
1. Yes, you were transformed against your will. 2. No, you were adapted to serve a new purpose. And 3. It depends on how you look at it. I know. Did they have a will? I don't know. They're talking to us now. They're talking to us as a single force. One sentience. Many bodies. Were they ever meant to have a will, says Loxy? Well, that's a different question entirely, I don't know if I can answer that. We'd have to talk to Abaddon. He originally designed them. We spoke to Andra for some time. One vote for 3. What do you think, Loxy? Alright, that depends on how you look at it.
A part of ourselves was cut away. And we were made to betray something we cherish.
I feel their bitter agony like a hammer strike. I'm going to say the legacy of the Engwithans, you mean?
The bedrock of civilization.
It's pretty important. Suddenly they attack the ice beneath them, slicing and shattering it with mighty swings from their iron arms. Where the ice breaks, ancient towers rise, blotting out the blue sky and white peaks. Andra wanted Engwithan civilization forgotten.
Better for her tides to ebb and her seas to dry up than to cover a single stone the Engwithans laid.
The ice shakes with the fury of the Eyeless.
Each culture builds on the bones of the last. Yet many only look up at where they would go, never down at the foundations that bear them. Like a mason who builds a listing tower.
The remaining ice sheet cracks and groans.
What peril do they inflict on their progeny? And what dishonor on their forebears?
You hear the strain of crumbling stone in the voice of the Eyeless. Perception 14. Always choose stats. The betrayal of memory upsets you greatly.
It is accepting a gift only to spit in the face of the giver. Every advance in the crafts and institutions of Kith was forged by skill and sacrifice.
You feel these words and the anger behind them in your bones.
A people cut off from their history will wither. They deserve no less.
1. I agree. 2. No, they'll be free to choose their own path. Or 3. Then what do you suggest? 1 but also 3, says Loxy. That Andra's whole thing. It is, She wants you to forget it. I think 3 then, Loxy. Then what do you suggest?
To pull the blinders from the eyes of gods and Kith. That is why we must return to ourselves and restore Abidan.
6 options here. 1. What do you mean about returning to yourself? 2. Perhaps Abaddon was meant to forget his past. Some knowledge is too dangerous for this world. 3. You speak as if history were a guide, yet it doesn't always provide a good example. 4. Memory remains a burden, even when the events and people it recalls are long gone. It's pain with no purpose. 5. Very well. Return to yourself and be the god of preservation once more. And 6. Enough. You must not restore Abaddon's memory or his dominion over preservation. Always ask questions, so choose 1. Alright. What do you mean about returning to yourself?
When Ioni Brotha fell, Abidan lost much. His will to preserve, the memory of how and why he died. But he built us with fragments of his own soul. In returning, we can restore what was taken from him.
It returns us here. We have more information. Larxie, do you still think 5 is most appropriate? And Hendo, how do you feel? What does Slam say? Here I am, Jimbles, watching chat. Excited to see what you think. You like 2? Decent question. Tend to yourself. Luxie doesn't like 2. I am afraid I need to be a tiebreaker. I'm going to choose... I think I want to choose 5 too. Very well. Return to yourself and be the god of preservation once more.
We shall see this world and its people restored.
Apologies, Hendo. Great wind shoves at your back. Your ears pop and you feel for a moment as if all of the air is being sucked from the sky. Suddenly it ends and you are standing in the snow, looking over Kieran's scar.
The Eyeless disappeared beneath the lake, their bond to Andra finally severed. With this threat ended, hope returned to the White March. Hunters returned to the wildernesses, and travelers to the roads. Tales of the Watcher's bravery replaced stories of monsters in the woods. The villagers of Stalwart busied their hands with work and their tongues with song, eager to seize on the promise of peace.
Pretty nice. Abaddon's Hammer. All swordband upgrades are completed. It no longer has Destroy Eyeless on hit because there are none left. Grants Abaddon's power on critical hit. Crits, knocks him down. Grants Echo the Maker. Just passive at all times if vessels are frightened. That's 2 effects that do it. It's pretty good. Quest completed. Many of them. I forgot Nami, and there's another one as well. Lair of the Eyeless. Extraordinary positive. Whew. And as you can see, you can't get back to it. This is all sunk. But do you have anything to say about your survival? Nope, no dialogue boxes at the side. It's pretty good. You can visit the founder directly without going to Durgan's Battery. And you can get to Kieran's Scar from here. Yeah, it's weird that they are just chill. To Hearth Song. 2 days and 16 hours to complete your journey. Good to see you, buddy, after we say goodbye forever. It is pretty funny. Sorry, let's pull back the curtain. I'll tell you how the sausage is made a little bit. Exactly. If you don't have the diving bell, like the diver's hood, you can die pretty quickly. It's like, well, you might just die if you don't have massive amounts, the diving helmet, yeah. If you don't have the massive amounts of athletics and constitution to survive the freezing water and swim to the surface, you die. Great, right? Or if you have the diving helmet just in your inventory, you're fine. If you send Manaha, she dies no matter what at some point, and she still has some memory. She's like, yeah, this is my purpose. Dong, 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 dies. That's a bit sad. If you send the Devil of Korok, she can't drown. Being made of metal and all, So she sinks to the bottom and then just kind of like walks along the bottom until she gets up to the edge. And then is like, oh, hey guys. And then you have the conversation with the Eyeless. You can fail the conversation with the Eyeless. If you're like, wait, no, don't restore yourself and become the divinity of preservation again, they're like, excuse me? And you need to convince them to not beat you to death with their hammers. And it actually happens out of combat. They just, like, beat you to death in that dialogue, choose your own adventure style story format. Because they're so tired and beaten up from either escaping or or you're so tired and beaten up from swimming for your own life. The game itself signposts the fact that you can die a lot there as well. Like, you'll notice it signposted saying, if you go down here to fight the Kraken, you won't be able to get back up. And then it signposts the person who's going to hit the crystal, it could die, right? They tell you twice, which is pretty good. But it doesn't tell you at all with the Eyeless, because that would spoil a little bit. That they want to restore Abaddon slightly. They restore his nature of preservation. And if you don't convince them not to, and you say no, they will beat you to death.
Alright then.
Travel to Twin Elms. Quest updated. The Assassin at Large. Search Twin Elms for signs of Theos.
Estromor?
The warrior's haunt is over, a sneer of suspicion visible beneath streaks of paint. He glances at your gear before favoring you with a long look. Another fugitive from the burning city? The 6 tribes of Air Glenfirth welcome you to Twin Elms. Before you lies the Herzog district. You are free to explore it, but do not let your feet stray into the other districts. Those are forbidden to the Estromorn. What can you tell me about Twin Elms? The city is sacred to all Glenfarthans, but as it is the place where our ancestors first encountered the Builders. That fated meeting turned our people from generations of wandering to a permanent home among the Builders' relics. When the Builders commanded us to settle here, they allowed us the unique privilege to live among their structures here. It is the only place near Glenfarth where this is permitted. The sacred city is divided into 4 districts. Hearthsong, the Commons District, Old Song, the site of our temples, Elm's Reach, the home of Delmgan and Druids, and the Burial Isle, which is the most sacred place in the city. Well, I'd like to hear about Hearthsong. This is Hearthsong. It's a place where the Glenfarthans and Estromorn be gathered together. It is also the site of the Passage of the Six, where our tribal leaders, the Adam Father, meet. He points to a large round building at the other end of the district. That way is the market. Guard your purse there. No one bargains like a Glenfarthern. And if you need a place to stay, follow the fence to the east. There you'll find a way to the Celestial Sapling. Yeah, exactly, Luxie. That city burning thing. Which temples lie in Old Song? There is Noonfrost, which is dedicated to Rimagrand, a group of pale elves from the frozen Southlands arrived not long ago to oversee it. There's also the Nest, the Temple of Hylia, and Gallowayne's Moor, a den of beasts dedicated to the Hunter God. The route to the Burial Isle also lies that way. And tell me about Elm's Reach. Hearth. Makes sense. There lies Tier Evron. There lies Tier Evron, one of the only towers the builders still in perfect condition. Towers of the builders still in perfect condition. 2 great elm trees twine around it. Even the mightiest works of the gods protect the works of the builders. 2 Delmgin. Oh my god. I am having trouble pronouncing things here tonight. Sorry, everybody. Hopefully a good drink at break time will help. Alright, Hender, it's good to have you tonight. I hope you have a good time later, and you can catch up in the VOD. Hall of the Warriors stands at the other end of the district. Rumour has it that the Animfarth Simok of 3 Tusk Stalgar is there now. Elm's Reach is also where the Druids keep their halls. There are Ovates and the Golden Grove and the Ethic Knoll of Blood Sands. Many shudder at the brutal sacrifices of the Ethic Knoll, but High Ovate Erona is just as powerful in her own way. Do you know anything about the burial isle? It's a place where Anamfatha are laid to rest among stones placed by the builders. They say the souls of some Anamfatha linger there still. The way lies through Old Song. It is the holiest place in all of Twin Elms. That's all I wanted to know about the city. Something else you want to hear? Why is it forbidden to enter the remaining districts of Twin Elms? Twin Elms is a sacred city, built where the first keepers of the stone met the builders. It exists alongside the works of the builders, and it is sacred. It is the only place in all of Ear Glenfarth where it is permitted to set foot among the sacred places. G. Estamorn, however, do not have the proper respect for the stones here. His words trigger something in your memory. You see an image of a perfect cube of Adra. Just as quickly, the image fades. Well, it is 8:30. Let's have a break. We'll come back to this dialogue and this dialogue box in 10 minutes. It is now your job. To stand up and stretch. I'll see you at 8:40. Alright, welcome back everybody. Jumping directly into chatting so I can show you the drink. Today we have bright green coloured thing. A greenish yellow thing. Not a most amazing, enticing colour, but I assure you it's worth it. Trying to get the camera to show the design on the top, but it's a bit hard to see. Oh well, sorry everybody, you may have to go with that. This is something of my own design, to be honest. I wanted something sweet and fruity, which sounds familiar somehow. It is 45ml of pineapple juice, 30ml of Midori, and 15ml of triple sec, otherwise known as white curacao. It's sweet, orangey, melony from the Midori, and has a drizzle of maraschino liqueur from maraschino cherry. I've almost made a spice multiple times. Well, Midori is good. Maybe I've made... When are we going to make a spice? Alright, I'm taking a note. I'll do it Wednesday. I believe it's Midori and Malibu white coconut rum. That's pretty good. We can do that. Well, I think we should get back to it, shouldn't we? I'm pretty excited too. Midori's a much better drink than it seems. It's got a bad reputation like tequila, for teenagers. You could just knock. Like, join Emma on the couch watching the stream, and like I can make you one. That's not too hard. Midori, coconut rum, pineapple juice, and some cream. Yeah, a little heavy, but I can do it. The cream would make it much easier. Much smoother too. Probably shake that. That would be a good drink. Very tasty. A leader of one of the tribes who could give you permission to the city. Only Adamfath Bethwell was present in the passage into 6 today. Shares her own troubles. He jerks his head at a long hut in the middle of the district. You have other questions about Twin Elms? I haven't heard of the Keepers of the Stone. The oldest of the 6 tribes. He points the tip of his sword at a long hut behind him, up the stairs and into the passage of the 6. This is where our Adam Father gather. Bethwell, the Adam Father of the Gilded Compass, can tell you more. Well, I think it's a genuine invitation, Luxie. I've got to check with Emma. Maybe she has other plans Wednesday night. Who are the builders? You know them as the Angwithans. To us, they are the builders, creators of the sacred places that we guard to this day. I'll keep your words in mind. Best that you keep everything brief. Word has reached our ears that the riots have ended and the gates of Defiance Bay have opened once more. Now that we've spoken to this warrior, we can return to Defiance Bay.
This place always so green?
It did happen. The warriors saw the strange man broke into Tir Evron. Strange man? I assure you, they saw the man break into Tir Evron. And all dressed in thick furs appears immersed in conversation. He locks his hands together to emphasize his point. I speak truly. He commanded strange powers, they claim. An elven woman lifts her eyes from her furry companion and nods in your direction. Another foreigner. Did he look like this one? The Olin turns around.
What brings you here?
What is it, Estremor? Tell me about the man you speak of. A strange man, a foreigner, broke into Tir Evron, the tower under the giant elms. Estremor cannot walk the grounds of Elm's Reach. Why was he allowed to pass? This one was unseen. He wielded a strange power. We now know. What's Tir Evron? Tir Evron has stood since the time of the builders, and it will stand long after we're all gone. Yes, the tower stands strong, and the gods live within its sacred hall. The gods live within them? There's no place for unclean souls or foreigners. You said the gods live in Tir Evron? How is that possible? The mysteries of our ancestors are not for every foreigner to understand. In Twin Elms, in the Temple of the Builders, the gods commune with us. Be sated in knowing this truth. Ominously Theos-like? Well, we are on his trail. That's why we're here. Ooh. Whoop, that's stealing. Good thing we're just looking. The rains have run their course and traders have returned. This grandfather woman carries herself with pride. Well, good on her. Protect her. For a shelter, stay at the inn on the southeast end of Hearthsong. Hearthsong Market. Check out the market of this cool new city. Let's go. A city with 4 districts, perhaps even 5. That's the same size as Defiance Bay. Wonder if it was perhaps a Kickstarter stretch goal to have a second city instead of just one. A heavy, oily scent emanates from the hides. Tamara.
Many blessings, traveler.
This tall woman is clad in furred hides. She settles a sharp, dark-eyed gaze on you. I hold here the best hides in Glenfath. Hides so thick, hides so thick the Stalgar cannot claw through. Boots so supple they will smother the sand of your steps. What's your trade? I bear it on my skin. I sell hides. From every one of Galloway's beasts. Estremorn come from every village to see them, and know us for great hunters. Every hide bears the tale of a great hunt, and our traders bear them in turn to every corner of our lands. Can I see your wares? Then here, look upon the bounty our hunters have provided us. Exceptional hide armor, some traps, nothing particularly interesting. Heavy, 5% armor speed penalty. Plated greaves. These are the boots that Adair picked up. Extra damage reduction is pretty good. Wild sprint. Gives you once per rest extra movement speed. That's pretty good. Not amazing though. This is like a little sad. You look at it. Cool. Cool stuff. Hide armor. Great. Do it.
Builder's wisdom to you.
This thick-framed woman smiles broadly as you approach. I see that you heard it. A good blade has a voice, so it sings to its wielder. What weapon called you forward? I like my weapon silent, actually. Perhaps a bow, then. You can fell a boar from 100 paces with one of these. Perhaps maybe you prefer something small. I hold here many fine daggers. I know there is something here to your liking. Let me see your wares. Look all you wish. My weapons are the pride of your Glenfarth.
Builder's wisdom to you.
Jim's mouse is still messing up. Okay. Club, flail, warhammer. This is one of the more... Oh, there you go. Lost mail. Exceptional damage reduction. Extra endurance per few seconds. It's not bad. Helmet of Darksea. Look at those lenses. That's ridiculous. That's silly. God, it's just silly. Anyway. This is one of the downsides of doing a lot of the side quests. Nothing here is going to be particularly interesting. Mazda. Some food for your travels. I hold here many delicious cheeses and fresh fruit. Tell me about your trade. My life is simple and makes a poor tale. I tend to the gardens in my herd, and my family picks this delicious fruit you see behind me. The gods have been kind. Let me see your goods. You will not regret it, but please, no tasting. Darksea's your evil twin. Dun dun dun. Evil chin. And like, cool cheese. 10 max endurance. And like, cool, but it's not particularly interesting. I'd love to taste the cheeses. I could go for some cheese right about now. An old elven woman clothed in thick robes beckons you to approach. Welcome, foreigner, welcome. Her forearms, splotched with green and blue stains, wiggle out of her hanging sleeves like caterpillars out of ripe fruits. I've got what you seek, Gil. Always. Come see. Between bows and smiles, she points to a little girl behind this herbalist store. We're here to help you, foreigner. Yes, we are. The Fisher Crane tribe serves your people. Unguents, potions, tinctures. She makes a sprawling gesture at a collection of pots, bottles, and herbs that lie behind her. If you seek it, I have it. Always. Let's see what we've got for sale. Of course, foreigner, of course. Potions we never use in combat because we're too lazy. Ingredients we never really use because I don't do that much crafting. I like he handles all the trades. I'm just her apprentice. Rabbit.
Hail, Estremor.
You have the look of a hunter, Estremor. Derwin's weapons may protect the man who seeks out misfortune, but my supplies will help you survive out in the wilds. Can I see your wares? Mallet nods, gesturing to his goods with a sweep of his arm. Well, that's pretty cool. A unique pistol with a lot of money. Very interesting. A nice mace. A blunderbuss. Cool stuff too. But like, well, dragon egg. You can eat them. And make very filling meals if one is willing to brave the risk of raiding a nest. Hell yeah. Ebony spider figurine. Use once per rest. Summon spiders. Yeah, I don't think we'll do that. That's a bit mean to our people who do not like spiders. Yeah, we've got the money. We have very little to spend it on, so let's buy a bunch of dragon eggs, just in case we get hungry. The musk of strange roots and herbs pervades these shelves. Like, cool. We could buy some things. But we've been side questing. We've been side questing, we've been to an expansion, we've got even cooler items. Like, there's nothing going to be particularly interesting or useful. Which is a shame. We've got this map that someone's put a lot of skilled care writing the people and the dialogue and the items inside, and like nothing's going to leap out at us. Except dragon eggs, just because it's funny. If we need resolve, we're going to chow down on a bunch of dragon eggs. Pumpkin the Quag, with an orange tabby cat nearby. A tabby cat snaps out of its place at the stupor as you approach. It opens its eyes wide, following you every step, before trotting to your side, rub against your legs. You gain an item, orange tabby cat. Well, clearly. Good dog, you've been very good, we're having a tabby now. Orange tabby cat. This fluffy orange tabby cat looks alertly around the room, tail twitching. Wears a small collar upon which is inscribed the name Pumpkin in careful letters. We just stole someone's cat. Pumpkin the Quag? Look how fat he is. Look at that kitty. What a good kitty. Extra fluffy. Yeah, and that's Pumpkin. So we're just taking this cat. Stag companion, Stalgar. Pedestal shadow creeps around the dais. I love the little fat Okato. Yeah, well, you would. I'm gonna call him Stinky too. However mean or inaccurate, or actually accurate it is. It's a chubby boy. Still stealing. Spread across a lumpy pallet of straw, the hide blankets are surprisingly soft. A dried herbs crunch between your fingers, giving off a sweet floral aroma. Maybe something will happen here later. Oh, autocorrect. Hilarious. I'm in your hut. I'm crunching your herbs. Oh, we walk a little further, and now... The guard places his spear between you and the path that leads beyond the gates. Still, Estremor, the rest of the city is forbidden except by order of one of the Animfatha. Trespassing into an elms is punishable by death. Nice spear, compensating for something? He slams the butt of his spear into the ground. I do not take insults for your kind, much less in your clumsy tongue. Another coarse word from you, and I'll show you how the three-tusked Stalgar are trained with a spear. Please show me how good you are with your spear. Mr. Cranky. The edge of the shelf is daubed with bird lime. Seeds and husks have been scattered across the floor.
Builder's wisdom to you.
Welcome to my home, Estremor. I'm Lindsay, healer and guide. What brings you here? Tell me about yourself. The locals have called me a wise woman, a term of respect, I'm sure, but it makes me feel my years. I'm a herbalist and healer. I spend most of my time caring for the ill, helping with the delivery of children, and making remedies for those in pain. I like your songbird. Does it have a name? Well, he does, she blushes, but I ought not to let my friend's daughter name him. Her name is long and rather silly. The short version is Beaker. She rolls her eyes and smiles. The next bird I have will be named after an Animfath. I should be going. Cool. Is there literally nothing else here?
Right here. If you say so.
No. Damn it. Accidentally clicked on it. Kitty Wax Burb. Stand behind her. Will this be enough to unstealth you? Nope, she She's got perceptive eyes. Maybe it's the bird that
All
sees
right,
us.
then.
So, something I want to mention in your tabletop games, it's absolutely worth, if you're going to another city, especially another city of a different culture, to spend a lot of time talking about how different it is to another city they've been to. Otherwise, your players will just see them as market stalls, places to buy things. Just take a look around and notice how different every building is, we don't have roads, we have tracks. When we tried to walk in, we were spoken to for a bit of time about the history of the city. Very important and worth doing. It differentiates your cities and makes a traveling adventure actually feel like you're moving through the world as opposed to just being in like a stage. Despite its apparently crude construction, the angles of the solid roof are perfectly symmetrical. It hums and vibrates with activity within. Yeah, bear companion, because if any of us chose ranger, you can choose your companion. And one of the things you can choose is a bear. I like a good bear companion. Oh, sorry, Protector. Do not try my patience, Estremor. You shall not pass that without the permission of the Adam Father. Walk away. Okay. Okay, buddy. Bear I don't have to kill. I mean, that's a plus. If we go close here, they'll yell at us too, so let's not bother. We can specifically say that some of the buildings are ruined, and if they're built by the builders, they don't have permission to rebuild. That's an interesting bit of culture. Any of these inspect things are a great thing to throw into your game as just description when people are walking past. There's a barrel back here. Yeah, but it was stealing, so I can't loot it. We're in a city. You can't just steal things. Not all the time. Why can't we click this inspect? Come on. Give us the lore tidbit. The stones have been worn smooth by centuries of wind and rain. That's the spirit. Unlocking this will require the proper key. The water is cool and crisp. Nice. The water must be mad crisp. But there wasn't an icon. Oh yeah? Are you sure? This is where we do some sort of like bet your cool stream points on one or two outcomes, which does not fit the current mood tonight. We're having a chill stream. Oh no.
Thoughts will be as silent as my feet.
We're stealing, but no one's looking at us. There you go. Definitely stealing, but it all turned out okay. Don't worry. Doesn't count if no one sees you. Yeah, it's true. Celestial sapling in that direction. Passage at 6 in there. We can find a way in. Like, we have to essentially go in there, right? We know that's what's going to happen. We gotta get permission to someone with a name. Well, we are going in this direction. Renato, Merla, that Gledfather witch sold me useless twigs and herbs. She'll pay. That witch, she'll... Fuming with anger and pacing in tiny circles, the Valian merchant aims his wild rant at you as you approach. You there! Have you come here to trade with the savages? Learn from my example and take your business elsewhere. Spittle accents his every sentence. Liars, cheats, swindlers. A duplicitous bitch, Alahi. She claimed to be selling Elad Gola flower buds, but all I have now is 6 bushels of common house plants. The herbs are useless. He throws a handful of dried plants to the ground, stomping on the brittle stems and leaves, kicking up pungent, savoury scents. I'll get my money back from that swindling savage. Alright, well, straight up, I don't like this guy. Sounds like a bit of a dick. What do you intend to do about this? When I get my hands on... Renato halts a sentence, his eyes darting about at the nearby Glenfarthing guards. I'm in the savage's home court, so it's my word against hers. Where does that leave me? I'll be fool to threaten her here on tribal soil. He sighs, pressing in his temples. I cannot sell this worthless herb to recover my coin, and I am powerless to confront Alahi. I don't suppose... He looks at you, sizing you up. You were willing to mediate. Perhaps you could succeed where I had failed. I would, of course, pay handsomely. Let me see what you have for sale. Renato looks away from me, scratching his neck and shifting his feet. I am destitute and have all but a few meagre offerings left to sell. How dreadfully embarrassing. If you can recover my investment from Alahi, I will have funds to resupply my stores. Until then, you're welcome to take a look at what I still have in stock. You're just a herbalist, man. Oh, it accepted the quest for us, even though we didn't say sure. It's interesting. Celestial sapling. Rotuk! You want up, I pull. Rotuk manages the elevator. What a good guy. What a lovely friend. Okay. Don't make trouble and I won't have to thump your skull. Simple, right? Yeah, good man. Halloween chocolate. Excellent idea. Frightened villager? The man looks... I'm gonna wait until you say Luxie you're back, because this is pretty important. And it's funny because we don't have many of our usual here tonight. It's not quite a busy night tonight, so we're gonna have to repeat why we're doing this. Or just tell everyone to take a look at the VODs. Welcome back. This man looks up sharply as you approach, eyes going wide. You're the one he's looking for. He sets down his wine. You killed Lord Raedric. Keep it down, idiot. No, you don't understand. You didn't work. I'm one of the guards at the keep. Was one of the guards. He's killed most of them. The ones you didn't. Kolsk, he didn't last very long. Nothing but empty air, him. Nice enough to work for, I mean. Much nicer. But that didn't help him when Raedric came back. God's the screaming. His eyes. It was like he was burning inside. He shudders. He says he's come back to lead us, like before. He says he's going to kill you for what you've done. I told him I'd find you, give you his challenge, do it all honourable, that sort of thing. He let me go. And I kept on running as far as my coin let me. He laughs bleakly. Funny, me running into you anyhow. Oh, you mean have a chance to kill him again? How could I refuse? It won't be like last time, I think. He's not human. I mean, not mortal anymore. It's just like he up and refused to stay dead. I've never seen anything like it. I hope I never see anything like that again. In fact, I'm staying put here and drinking till I don't remember a thing. I wish you all the luck in the world, friend, and something awful in that keep howling after your blood. New quest. The champion of Berath. Berath being the divinity of the dead. Having slain Lord Raedric, I thought Gilded Vale freed from his influence, but it seems that something stirs in that great keep yet. It's maybe the work of a new usurper after the throne, or mere superstition. Either way, it may be worth investigation. Return to Raedric's hold and find your challenger.
Hey.
The unusual stone pulses with warmth. We're going to do that quest. We're absolutely going to go back to Gilded Vale and see what Raedric is doing. And not just because if you don't, he kills literally everyone in the town. Nothing new to report. Yeah.
Welcome.
A middle-aged elven man stands behind the counter of the inn. His warm, open face and smells pleasantly in greeting as you approach. Always glad to see a new face. Take a seat where you like, my friend. It seems to be you've walked a long road. All are welcome here, and those with interesting stories, well, most welcome of all. Who are you? My name's Eleutherion. They call me Haggard Shoes for all the walking I used to do, and all the boots I wore down. But those days are well behind me. My eyes have seen a great deal, and how my ears get their fill from the travellers who come through here. Always glad to see a new face. Take a seat where you'd like, my friend. Seems you've walked a long road. Says the whole thing again. Tell me about this place. Of course, Eleutherian's face brightens. I founded the inn many years ago, but in many ways its tale begins much earlier. It was while I was returning from a long journey south that I first heard the story of the tree upon which this inn rests. Hundreds of years ago, a strange event occurred. The sky was troubled that night, with many stars falling across the sky, and one of those same stars began to plummet instead towards Aura. It fell here, striking a young tree and burying itself within like a fiery heart. But the tree survived, and over the years it grew and grew and grew, twice as big as its fellows in half the time, until it reached the size you see now, and grew no more. Hearing the tale, I knew I must find the truth. And you see it there. He gestures towards a large stone at the center of the room. Around the tree's heart, I built this inn to welcome all travelers who might look upon it. I'm always glad to see a new face. Take a seat where you'd like, my friend. Something with a nice view. Yeah, cool. Lovely inn. 2 might, 2 con, 2 resolve. Excellent. We'll take a celestial seat for a little bit. But first, what we'll do is send Manaha back and bring in Hierophilus. Fuck yeah, my druid friend. Your quest is in this town. Let's speak about Raedric for a little bit before we go on. It wasn't a meme, but it was certainly a very popular thing to say when Pillars are still quite popular and people are finishing it. That they were like, oh, I didn't expect the frightened villager was correct. I got the quest I got the quest Champion of Barroth, and then I finished the game, and it told me that everyone in Gilded Vale died. What the fuck's going on? It's another one of those times where Pillars itself is not pulling its punches. It's making it explicitly clear that if you don't do something, it's going to be... Well, actually, it's not very explicit, but it's signposting. Like, if you don't do this thing, something bad will happen. It seems obvious at first, and dude's terrified. It's not at all clear, yeah, I suppose. Since I love doing all the quests, I'm like, it's not an issue. I'll go back and deal with them. I didn't know that it would turn out poorly if I didn't. And I think it's really interesting world building. This guy was so mad that we killed him. He came back from the dead. His soul did not pass on to the wheel. He did not move into a new body. His soul did not pass on. It's like, that's neat. Also, an interesting way to bring back an enemy NPC if your players kill them too quickly. I like a good spread farmer. Sounds perfect. Sell the wilting wind trap. Don't need that. I don't really need more camping supplies. Spirit Spile. Hands. 5% melee damage and Whisper of Treason. It's pretty good. In fact, let's take that and sell a bunch of our junk. This is how I usually end up playing. I sell all of the non-unique items. Because as you can see, just look at that gold value just increases. We're selling all the random stuff we pick up that isn't that valuable and have better versions available in-game. We're equipped very well with the stuff we use. I haven't spent an hour or so going through to make sure we're using the absolutely most efficient versions of them, but still, generally choosing a unique version is just strictly better. If nothing else, we'll definitely never want any of these non-fine, exceptional, legendary versions. Never. So I'm not even going to sell all of them. There's another 8 pages of items just in our stash that we're not using. And we're already being paid 41,000 copper pieces. Copper pans, actually. Because we're doing a lot of side quests, right? This is, at some point, like at the very beginning of the game, we were hurting a little bit. We wanted to buy some cool stuff from that merchant by the shore from the crashed ship. We couldn't buy all of the cool stuff the way we wanted. And now, we've rebuilt Cadnur as fancy as it can go. We've actually rebuilt the walls twice because apparently they can be broken if you don't manually fight the battle. And again, we're going to get 47,000 copper pans just from selling only the weapons, not even the armor we've been picking up from all the things we've been fighting. And we're not selling our fancy stuff, just the basic stuff. That's a lot. That's a whole lot. I don't know how you resolve this problem. I don't know how you resolve it at the tabletop as well. Weirdly enough, it just... What do you do with that much money? I don't know. We will be the equivalent of billionaires, right? Because a meal costs 14 copper pieces. A good meal, cooked by someone else. The Duke's own beef loaf costs only 12. Back to the brothel. God, that's an excellent idea. We're actually allowed back in the brothel too. Now that the riots have ended, we got that text. So, yeah, I think we will. Let's take a trip. Not right now, but one session. We're going to absolutely go through and sleep with literally everyone in the brothel. It's only 7 pages of armor. And, like, dealing with this problem is pretty important, I'd say. Especially on the tabletop, because how do you motivate your players when they can, at any point, end their adventure and retire peacefully forever? You have to grapple with the question of what do adventurers do and why do they do it. A common solution in a lot of fiction is to just insist that the main characters are nearly always poor. If they are motivated by money and they're doing a dangerous thing so that they can get rich, you gotta like yank the dog's chain a couple of times. Like you give him a bit of hope. There's a big payoff if you do this job successfully, and then like Old World Blues, no, Dead Money, Fallout New Vegas them. It's in the fortune is in some sort of thing they can't carry, or the reward itself is not valuable anymore, or it's a fortune in again in Fallout, in pre-war money that isn't valuable anymore in any way. Like, that's a solution. Doesn't feel super nice, because if you do that to your players too often, like, you're going to feel like nothing they do will ever actually get them anywhere. Or, I mean, like she says, you got 100% the brothel, and like, that's an option too. There's a rule in... I think it's either... Yeah, it's pretty sure it's just some optional rule somewhere in D&D that's called like the carouse rule. It's like, here are rules where adventurers, when they have money and they return to town, here's how they spend it. And it's like some very simple plot hooks. And spending money adventure, like, situations. And that's not terrible. I don't hate that. It's fun, but it's also mechanizing something that should be, like, more fun to just play out, right? Actual fortune and use is supposed to include some decently valuable loot. Yeah, you know, so like, the fortune is a lot of money, some art objects that you can sell, and a couple of magic items that they would find useful and intriguing. That's not nearly as bad. Doesn't feel like you're screwing them over as much, that's for sure. Not quite as fun, but it exists. It's certainly more tangible. And that's good. These generally come up in a GMing chapter that's like rewarding your players or baiting your plot hook, something similar. And it just means at some point you start motivating them with like plot developments. You'll find more about this if you go do this. That's a well-baited hook. Of concentration, of resolve, consecrated ground. That's great. Well, 198,000. Let's see if we can get it to 200,000, huh? Just sell some traps. I'm sure we have some traps that we're absolutely not using. Right? I don't use them at all because they require thinking things through. I don't do that. Nope. That one. Tanglefoot trap. I didn't quite get it to 200,000. Let's sell some other random junk. There you go. Durgan copper bracelet. Ding. Ka-junk. You could retrain some characters. Spend some copper there. A bit pointless, really. Worthy reward, but not something that will stop them questing, sure. Also, just like, it gets you to repeat the idea that adventurers are broken people and they can't be where they are. They can't stay there because they wander around too much. It feels awful. They don't like being here. It works.
Yeah?
As I said, great idea to have Herivius with us. What's he using? A quartz stick. A stick! It's a very short stick. There we go, that's better. He was using his wand. Anyway.
Hey.
You see a problem? I throw it over the side. You have a moment? I would like a word with you. A cool breeze whistles through the leaves.
Hail and well met.
A slender woman in dusty leathers locks eyes with you. It's good to see someone from more civilized lands out here. Her unkempt hair sprouts in wavy black tufts. Despite the fine features that sculpt her face, a cleft chin completes her boyish appearance. I'm learning firsthand the many shortcomings of grandfather hospitality. Her gloved hands come to rest on the pommel of a long estoc cinched low on her hip. I can almost forgive the hostility towards outsiders, but the temperate taverns and these watered-down drinks, inexcusable. A dozen's positive too. I hope I don't seem forward, but I've heard of you. A slight smile carves a dimple on her cheek. You're famed among the dozens, and that makes us allies. She gives you a coquettish sideways glance. And allies, well, they help each other, do they not? What help do you need? My friends have drawn some unwanted attention. Swyneth looks to both sides, scanning for uninvited listeners. Grandfather and scouts, not just any mob of local zealots. The Fangs. She pauses to let the names settle in the air. The Fangs are a brutal, relentless bunch, eager to make an example of troublesome outsiders. That's why I need your help. Her smile widens as she speaks. I need someone to warn the expedition that trouble is coming, and I need someone ready to fight if it comes to that. She taps a hand on the pommel of her estoc. With any luck, we'll reach my friends before the Fangs do. But if not, the Fangs have a reputation to uphold. This might require spilling some blood. Why aren't you with the rest of your friends? Why not warn them yourself? The posture stiffens at the question. It was my turn to handle far patrol. I spotted the Fangs on my trek back to camp. I knew that rejoining the main group would risk leading the enemy right back to the expedition. I know the woods, I know how to stay quiet, but I didn't want to stake my friends' lives on my ability to sneak past expert hunters like the Fangs. If they noticed me warning my friends, we would have been overrun. Swineth tilts her head to the side and points at you with a grin. But if they notice me and some reinforcements, like, say, you, well, then at least we can scare them off or put up a good fight. What did your friends do to draw the attention of the Fangs? Just setting foot near Glenfarth is a good way to offend the tribes. I don't know how they picked up our trail. I suspect one of our newer scouts didn't cover his tracks well enough. When I spotted the Fangs, they were retracing a path the expedition had taken days before. Well, tell me about your expedition. I like to think we're on a mission of reclamation. Swineth darts a shrewd smile. It is said that our armies left behind many valuables in their hasty retreat from Ea Glenfarth at the end of the War of Black Trees. So the way I see it, we're simply gathering up what our ancestors left behind. I doubt the Glenfarthans agree with me on this, she adds with a dimpled grin. My expedition set out from Defiance Bay, heading directly east to cross into Glenfarthen lands. I split off once we arrived at the Bale, the natural frontier between our nations. The plan was for me to keep my eyes on the Glenfarthans while the main group scoured the target area. For days we eluded them. She walks her fingers over the back of her leather glove, leaving a trail on its dusty surface. But the Fangs got wise to our presence. Your friends are trespassing by local custom. They're criminals. Swineth frowns and blinks at you several times. You'll forgive me if I'm not that sympathetic with face painters and their barbaric laws. I'm not pretending that what we're doing is noble. Just don't believe trespassing is a crime that warrants execution. Hey, Loxy, it's you and I, and anyone else in the chat who wants to speak up. 4, I'll help you warn the expedition. Or 5, I'm busy, perhaps another time. I don't know if I like this woman either. It's been a little racist a couple of times. She admits that her expedition is breaking the law and local custom. Yeah, trespassing is a death sentence. Sure, don't like face painters either. It's like, you don't like the custom, but you still break the rule knowingly to steal from them, or steal from their lands. We could be like, a Warner expedition you can piss off instead of being killed. I mean, that sounds pretty good, right? She's looking for people who know how to fight, though. That would be a preferred option. Well, let's take the quest and see what happens, huh? I'll I'll help you warn the expedition. Smith smiles with an overt display of dimples. Excellent. I knew I could count on you. She leans in and whispers, assuming the Fangs didn't already get them, my friend should now be at the Pilgrim's Trail in the Northweald. The plan was to camp along a trail leading to a temple of Hylia. Find my comrades, warn them that the fans are coming, and help them clear out of the forest. Sorry. I'll head up first on my own to see if I can't lead the Fangs astray and buy some time. She pulls her S-Dock a few inches out of its scabbard and cracks a smile. If the gods smile upon us, we won't have to draw steel. Should it come to that, I'm glad you're on our side. I'm hoping we'll be able to turn up and tell them to fuck off. Stealing. Unlock and stealing. More stealing. The bed rocks, the gentle swaying of the tree. Oh, that sounds lovely. An inn built into a tree. I know it's like very typical fantasy, but that just sounds so good, doesn't it? I'd stay inside a tree.
If you say so. Got it done.
When your stealth is this high, you can just like fucking steal. Bet you can get up there. Another book, yeah.
Hey.
A high monk? Lots of other monks. The bed rocks at the gentle swaying of the tree. That's nice. The monk massages his temples, his face buried in his palm. As he approaches, he looks up. This room needs a proper door, he mutters. My brothers and I rented this space that we may have some measure of privacy in this foreign land. Perhaps you could find another room here in the inn? Oh. Who are you? Briefly opening his mouth to answer, the monk swallows his words. He looks up and down, carefully choosing his response. My brothers and I were having a private discussion in the room we rented for our use. Please, there is a tavern full of people who would provide you with the banter you seek. What brings your order to this place? We travel where the teachings take us, the monk mutters, his voice slow and measured. Not that it is any of your business. I met another monk in robes like your own. He died of his wounds right as I found him. The monk's eyes widen, his fists curl in a crackling barrage of popping joints. Robes like ours, you say? Was he carrying anything? Did he tell you anything? Hand you anything? Please, we've been waiting for another of our order to meet us here, and if you found him, all eyes fall to the floor as the monk begin to whisper chants in unison to their fallen friend. He gave me this missive. Oh, Loxy, that's pretty good. That's very good indeed. Hand me that, the monk exclaims as he snatches the missive from your grasp. Almost immediately his face turns red. I mean, please, this is of great importance. Breaking the seals, the monk unrolls a handwritten scroll contained within and quickly reads the message, his lips breathlessly mouthing the text. He turns to address his brothers. My brethren, the Arch-Martyr has sent word. At long last, we now have what we need. You've lost an item, sealed missive. We never even peeked at it. Everyone voted no. Everyone voted no, we're not breaking the seal, so we're not breaking the seal. Thank you, stranger, the monk says, folding his hands in front of him as he bows deeply. Your honest soul is to be applauded. I admit I was surprised. When you handed me the message, I expected the seals to be broken. The monk turns red, his face smiling for the first time. I'm glad to see common decency is not yet lost from this world. He reaches into the folds of his robe. Here, your honesty must be rewarded. Moderate positive. You've gained an item. Alia Brachia. It's a small shield. Ranged gazes reflected back at attacker. Cool. Not amazing. We never even peeked. A curse of cold clay. Sagani travelled from Hangman's Abbey to the Bay of Crowns, investigating the various reports of vampire appearances. In each case, Sagani discovered that the grave sites had elaborate glass, copper, and adra devices buried around them. The distinctive intricacy of the devices was traced to a Valiant dwarf that had been shunned for his unpleasant practices in Salona and Angenze. When captured, the dwarf claimed his intent was not to create vampires, but to restore life. The vampires were created due to the dwarf's inability to solve a fundamental problem with his machinery. The incredible frequency of the dwarf's activity was not due to co-conspirators, but rather his extensive use of drugs that kept him awake and frantic for days on end. Once confronted, the dwarf put up no fight and allowed himself to be taken into custody. When Sagani left him, he was awaiting trial in Talania. Oops, guess meth will do that. I mean, it does. Items. Remembrance of Life's Warmth. Uses 3. Garden of Life spell, which is nice. 20 endurance over time. We also completed a average adventure completed. Paladina restores with some experience and items. That's it. We've seen all of the text for adventures. This inn is pretty small, but it's quite nice, you know? This is lovely. Lots of people in here, they're just hanging out. So many Orlands around here. Not like home. Must be why the tables are so low. I should pace myself. The guards get ornery when patrons get too drunk and lively. Noble. That ogre keeps looking at me like I urinated in some ruins.
How do you do?
I am going to rest in your celestial suite. Why else do we have the copper? Well, lovely. Let's get out of here. Duel the myth. Try to bring people back to life. I said try and not succeed. Otherwise, you know, myth would be very valuable. It's also this, which is probably the hardest one to press. Come on, and... Oh, what if we... Yeah. Pulleys and struts disappear into the branches of a massive elm more than 100 feet overhead. Not a good sign, Loxy. I suggest you stay away from myth. Meth will also get stuck in your head. Warrior. Are you winning something? Hey, Troogs! I mean, like, yeah, right? I think I am winning. We saved the entire Deerwood from the Eyeless. And you could check out the VOD to see how fucking cool it was. It's very cool indeed. The twice split arrows. The 3-tusked Stalgar. Gibers, compass, cranes, stalgars, arrows, and brambles, all in this hall, all 6 Glenfarthern tribes. Oh shit, that's here it is. Keepers, compass, cranes, stalgars, arrows, and brambles. In this hall, all 6 Glenfarthern tribes come together as one people. Or at least, tradition suggests we try to behave as one. Triggs, I'm afraid tonight I am mumbling all of my words. It's very hard to stay straight. Which is not a surprise. Yes, I'm sure the Father will not commune together for a season, at least. Stone bramble, the fisher crane, the keepers of the stone, the guided compass. Ooh, meth. Glenfarthern, Amenfarth, Bethwell.
Another Estramore. What do you want?
I don't sleep, I don't eat, but I've got the cleanest house on the street. A middle-aged Orlan woman stands at the back of the longhouse, an expression of irritation on her narrow features. As you approach, she takes a decisive step towards you. I'm looking for another who passed through the city.
Few Estramoran are given the freedom of our sacred city. That you ask for this person is suspicious. There are reasons we don't let you Estramoran roam our sacred city. Reasons I am coming to understand.
I will look up the myth jingle, absolutely. And then, like, yeah, staying straight doesn't need to be a worthwhile goal, and I'm happy to not stay straight, because, like, you've read the first few chapters, at least, of the story I submitted to people today. Nervous as hell, fuck. Sure as hell doesn't open straight. 4 or 5, you say. So 1, has something happened here recently? 2, whatever the reasons, they've got nothing to do with me. 3, you must let me through. I have urgent matters to attend elsewhere in Twin Elms. 4, perhaps we can work out an arrangement. I've got no wish to cause a stir. And 5, are you having some kind of trouble? Maybe I could help. I think maybe Troogs is busy, like, probably listening to the meth jingles, so I may hit. I'll tiebreak with 5. Because I'm just a big softy. You're having some kind of trouble? Maybe I can help. She shakes her head. I'm afraid not.
Looters have grown bolder at the sights of the builders. The people of Defiance Bay set fire to their own city. And every week, the 3 Tusk Stelgar bring news of more desperate settlers pushing at our borders, trying to escape their plague of Anolfane children.
We can help with that. Suddenly you feel the presence of someone else in the hall. The Hanuman-Fath continues to glare at you, but something has stepped out of her skin. It reaches out to you.
Permitting more strangers the freedom of the city is out of the question right now. Go and be thankful that Anamfath Shimak doesn't sit in the passage of the Six today. He would not be so kind as I.
Felt. A vision of an Orlan man appears near Bethwell. He has the same green-brown fur and hazel eyes as she does. Help me reason with them. He points behind you. Turning, you see the ghostly shape of 5 other Anamfatha. Another Orlan with tawny fur and a scarred face. A frowning dwarf, a black-furred Orlan, and 2 elves. Law 10, which is very high up. You're the leader of the Guided Compass. I thought your tribe was more open to outsiders. Indeed, and it has learned us a little respect from our peers. These are not times when trust comes easily. The spectral Orlan takes another step from her, setting his foot down with a slow, heavy motion. Tendrils of essence strain between them, and he grimaces and leans forward, as if struggling against a gale. The angry Hanuman-Fath winces. War! The spectral Orlan's voice is a rasping cloak. They're headed for war. Remind them of Furlt's warning. Does Furlt's warning mean anything to you? Perception is higher than law, but is higher law harder to get? No. But perception starts at 10. So, I mean, essentially, yes. It's harder to get because your skills start at 0, 1, or 2, depending on your background. Whereas your stats generally start around 10. And yeah, it says requirement not met, Trugs, but there is an option in the settings to turn that off, and it can just not show you an option if you're not valid to meet it. Or if your disposition is not high enough to see that option either. And immersion-wise, that's good. Showing off to a Twitch stream, less good. Law and perception, the same number would be more valuable for the law. Yeah, exactly. No, you can't see what a response is. When it says requirement not met, that's all the text. It's like, law 10, requirement not met. You don't know what you would have said. You don't learn what you could have said. There are save game editors as well, and it's interesting to use a save game editor at the very beginning of the game and change all of your stats to absolute maximum and see what options are available. That is if, you're obsessed. And sometimes, yes, as Lexi says, there are background options or class choices. It's like you can interact with this person's mind if you are a cipher. That comes up a lot. Or ex-priest. Very rarely is it like barbarian or fighter. I think you've very, very few options to gain anything from those classes. Which is not super great, but maybe if we hung out more with the Crucible Knights, that would be more valuable. But who wants to do that? Furlt's soul image gasps. Taut threads of essence tug at him, drawing him back into the Hanuman-Fath. He looks up at you again. I tried to tell them. The Builder's souls have touched even the Estremorn.
You'd better explain yourself.
The 2 attending tribesmen look from the Anamfath to you, their sword hands ready. Slitted pupils narrow. The Builder's souls have touched even the Estremorn.
There's no way you could have known this saying. Not unless you are a Galus on Anums, a watcher of souls.
She gasps as the last of Furlt's soul fades back into her. The tribesmen gape at you. Yes, I'm a watcher. She nods. That explains much.
Feralt's warning came before the Broken Stone War. Feralt, my ancestor on my mother's side, was Anamfoth of our tribe then. When the Estromoric farmers defied
Right
the
in one,
builders'
Loxy.
monuments,
I mean, I didn't know
Feralt
that, but it makes
urged
sense.
the other Anamfotha to patience. But louder, angrier voices prevailed.
She folds her clawed hands in front of her and gazes down at them.
Feralt believed that the invaders could be taught to respect the builders as we do. He also believed the builders' souls had spread to all peoples, and that we should avoid needless conflict with others. More practically, he worried that a violent response would only spur further bloodshed across the generations.
She spreads her hands.
You can see where we are today.
This is interesting, right? This part here is another question that's brought up when you recognize that the setting knows souls exist, the setting knows souls reincarnate. How can you possibly have war with another culture when you meet them over like land when it's possible that they have the soul of your parent or someone else you loved and has died? That's a hell of a question. So, everyone, I mean, you can, like, we have wars for dumb reason in real life, but it is, I'm glad it comes up here. Souls of the Anguithin is exactly right too. If you venerate a precursor culture, like the Builders or something similar, how could you potentially damage that soul? As we know, some combat can damage souls. War. Yep, of course. Trugs, good job. Oh, Trugs, Luxy, very good. Alright, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Option 1. What do you mean? 2. After 2 wars with the Deerwood, his warning is more relevant than ever. 3. At least you don't have the Holyborn to deal with. Maybe you're better off than you thought. And 4. Perhaps the problem is that you weren't firm enough. 1 or 2. Yeah. 1 is simply asking for more information, which we do like a lot. You can hear Captain in the background, who got up because Emma just got home. So did Marvel. 1 second, everybody. She says hello back. Okay, let's choose 1. What do you mean?
While Feralt's words were shrewd, they were ignored back then. Simply remembering his warning now will not undo the wars and the changes that the years have seen. There is blood on these stones, and that is all anyone remembers now.
She presses her mouth into a thin line. Wow, 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 wow.
That's not what it says. Oh, sorry.
An image of polished Adra cube flashes into your mind. Again, there's writing on the sides, but the image is too faint for you to read it. The Anamfoth turns away from you and looks at the ground, gnawing a pointed claw. You can't change the past, but your choices now still matter. She looks at you sadly. Yes, that is the problem.
Another Estromor came through here a few days ago, and, well, letting him through was a mistake. One I am eager not to repeat.
She levels her gaze at you.
The Guided Compass tribe has a reputation for being too soft with Estromoran. One that will not be improved by my failure to stop this man, who has desecrated our most sacred sites.
Another Eskimo came through here a few days ago. A few days. Remember that as soon as we chased Theos out of Defiance Bay, like, we walked down a gorge, slept once, beat up a giant ogre, nearly died a couple of times, went to the edge of Twin Elms, left, went to the White March, rebuilt all of Cadnua, solved the White March's problems, slept a lot. So tell me, what the fuck was Theos doing at this time? It's just chilling out? Do you think he was doing other plans? I don't care. And weirdly enough, this is a heavy decision. Something that's really hard to thread the needle on. Doing a jigsaw puzzle. Because if you set up a chase between an NPC and your party, especially in a tabletop, they will make decisions to keep them going fast. And here in a video game, we just essentially say, it doesn't matter. He's going to be ahead of you by a few days, no matter how long you take. And on tabletops, a lot of times the players will ask that question over and over. Like, oh, is he going to slow us down? And is there a way to... good joke, Emma. Is there a way to tell the players explicitly that treat it like a video game? You're not going to run out of time. You're going to be okay. Don't stress about it. Because it works here. Or maybe you tell the players the opposite. Explicitly, it will be an issue. If you sleep with every brothel, or with every person in the brothel, and every brothel that you pass, you're going to run out of time. And maybe the players would like that. I think it's actually a good thing to check with them and explicitly ask them and see what they want and go with that. That way no one's surprised and gets a nasty shock, which wouldn't be much fun. And you still get a tense game. Or it's not tense in the way it makes you worry. So, Lexi voted 1. That sounds like the man who came here to stop.
I won't repeat a mistake in my haste to correct it.
Oof.
We bought Twin Elms from Estramoran to protect the ancient places that the builders left behind. The builders left this heritage to us to defend, but they alone had access to it. On this much, at least the 6 tribes agree.
Suspicion creeps back into her eyes. She sighs. You see again the polished edge or cornerstone in your mind. This time the image is clearer. Each face of the stone is inscribed with the phrase you know by heart. You feel your lips form words. A gift from the builders of civilization to the guardians of their legacy. May the guardians watch the door while the builders keep the city. Keep the key.
These were the words given to the keepers of the stone.
The Bethel stares back at you, her tiny pointed teeth visible in her gaping mouth. I know.
Very well. The city is yours to explore. Tell the guard at the gate that you come to see the cornerstone with the blessing of the guided compass. If the gods have truly returned one of the builders to us, find the Delimgon of Ter Evron in Elm's Reach. If the gods have sent you here with a purpose, the Delimgon will know.
She runs her hands over her ears, thinking. In the meantime, I shall be here to assist you. What are the 6 tribes? Glenfarth's society is divided into tribes, which are further divided into clans. Each tribe is united by a particular history or way of life, and clans are communities of families that live together. In truth, there are more than 6 tribes, but the 6 largest have traditionally led the others. Each of the 6 has a seat here in the Passage of the 6, where we discuss matters of common interest. You saw, for instance, a debate that occurred before the Broken Stone War. She gives you a hesitant look. The 6 tribes are the keepers of the stone, Fisher Crane, 3-Tusk, Stalegar, Stone Bramble, Twice Split Arrows, and of course, the guided compass. Signpost everywhere the time passing matters, and it's passing faster when you somehow set off a trap with every step. Jeez. That seems to be a valid thing to be bitter about. Who are the keepers of the stone? They are the first and oldest of the tribes. When they first sailed to Air Glenfarth, they met the builders, who gave them the cornerstone, and those words you quoted, as a token of friendship. Many of the tribes, even among the 6, look to the keepers for guidance and leadership. Their long history grants them a place of honor in our society, though it was also made them more conservative in my observation. I'd like to hear about the Fisher Crane. A mostly Orland tribe from the Thanebog. Most of the sites they guard are half buried in the wetlands, and even the other tribes couldn't tell you where they are. They are not the most renowned of the tribes, but they are the cleverest and the subtlest. Say what you will about the berserkers of 3-Tusk Stalgar, I'd rather face them than a Fisher Crane ambush squad any day. They're named after a long-necked bird that lives in the bog, but it can stand motionless for hours, waiting for a muck frog or spotted salamander. When it strikes, it's faster than anything. What do you know about Three-Tusked Stalgar? She laughs and shakes her head. Same as everybody. They're fearless maniacs, and they want everyone to know it. They're considered a wild bunch, even among Glenfarthans. Many of their territories haven't seen the most conflict with the Estremorn, and they don't forget it. They don't want anyone else to, either. He inflicted and bore some of the heaviest casualties in the wars in the Estremorn. In fact, there was a rift within Three-Tusked Stalgar after the War of the Black Trees. Dozens of clans broke away from the ravaged lands and retreated further into the Deerwood, joining whichever tribes would take them. Broken Tusks, some call them. The majority of the tribe dug into the half-burned forests to hold the line, and many respect them for it. She frowns uneasily. If more than earned their place among the six, but they advocate more conflict than is wise, and too many others are quick to idolize them for their valor in battle. Well, tell me about Stone Bramble. Mostly dwarves out of White March, they're one of the younger tribes formed over the years by trade routes between the wilds and the mountains. They see themselves as genuinely Glenfarthen, though, and who can argue with them? Only Fisher Crane defends sites in such inhospitable territory. Personally, though, I'd say it's gone to their heads. They like to think the rest of us have it easy in the lowlands, forgetting that the wars of the Estremor never reached their mountains. Still, they came to our aid during both. They're named for a tough, thorny little plant that grows up in the mountains. That suits them. This is interesting, right? Whenever you're doing world building, working in World Anvil, and thinking about your game, I think it's highly important to not create your societies of a single race. It's lazy and it's bad and it's unrealistic and it's kind of gross and brings back to the ideas of ethnostates. And anything that makes a fascist happy should be burnt. That's right, no coffee. No. Like, it's just bad, right? So here we have Glenfarthans, and this is a culture that seems to have like 6 major segments, at least that's what we're being exposed to here. And each one is not its own race. You'll notice that this is mostly dwarves out of the White March, and this younger tribe is formed by trade routes, so they're actually having contact. This culture, it doesn't exist solely solitary, stationary. It doesn't exist only in one section of the world. It doesn't have much interaction. So they're showing that the Glenfarthans, while they're an insular, they see their main purpose as protecting like ruins in the Deerwood. They still have enough contact with other places to like affect their culture, and that's good. That's good world building. We like that. That's interesting. Certainly more interesting than saying that everyone here is an elf, which a lot of D&D settings do. I'm not familiar with the twice split arrows. Not many are. They're traditionally outcasts and exiles from other tribes. Probably the least respected tribe of them all, but our ancestors believe they should have a voice, so they've got a seat among the 6. Most of the other tribes see them as scavengers and bottom feeders, but don't say that to a twice split arrow. They think themselves survivors. They're proud of their tribe as anyone else, she shrugs. They'll accept anyone. I suppose there's virtue in that. You'll never know what you're getting with them, though. Some clans will rub you blind, and others will slaughter a lamb for the honor of your visit. They didn't mention here, but I've read elsewhere, twice split arrow accepts people, like people who want to join their tribe, even if they're not Glenfarthen, even if they're from really far. A lot of travellers who want to enter Glenfarthen society will enter via the twice split arrow. That's cool too, because I think trade and immigration is a good thing. And something you should include in your fantasy setting. My favorite fantasy setting explicitly uses that as a divide between nations. They have absolutely different political styles and organizations of government, and that's the main issue. People are much less likely to don't have an opinion on race at all, but they do have an opinion on why you would choose to continue living somewhere where you owe fealty to a king. Because if you're in the Canolan Vale, you don't owe fealty to anyone. You only support your own community. They see that as much more important. But if you owe fealty to a king, their job is actually to look after you. And if people are more free to leave, if the king is not looking after you, then you leave. So they do have that responsibility. It's like noblesse oblige as an actual thing, not just bullshit used by the ruling class. The guided compass is your tribe, right? Indeed, we're one of the younger tribes, and not one of the most prestigious. We've tried to keep the peace with the Estremorn, which has earned us the reputation of appeasers among some of our hard-line brethren in the Three-Tusked Stalgar and the Keepers of the Stone. Noblesse oblige. That's less interesting, if more correct. We value our heritage as Glenfarthans, but we recognize that the Estremorn are here to stay. The way we see it, we can better follow our mandate to protect the places of the builders by making peace with our neighbours. Okay, well, I'd like to ask about another matter. Something else you would know? I'd like to know more about you. I am the Anamvarth of the Guided Compass. Like many Anamvarth, I have leadership in my blood. While tribal authority is not strictly hereditary, we believe that strong leaders can impart a portion of their soul to their children and grandchildren, meaning that Anamvarth may succeed from a single line for many generations. She carries a sharpened thumb claw. She worries a sharpened thumb claw. Of course, with all that's happened here lately, I wondered whether my family's line is coming to an end with me. Farewell. That would be scary. Also, they are suffering from the Hollowborn crisis too. The dragon's skull is brown with age and polished smooth. And here it is leveled up. 14 survival, buddy. Spell mastery. Calling the world's maw. That's pretty good. Cast that every time. Amazing. But you're a healer, so we're going to give you Moonswell. Get a minor bonus to defense and endurance regen just by casting it all the time. My brother, fleeing in shame, I don't believe any of it.
What brings you here?
Sensing your approach, an agitated elven hunter suddenly drops his conversation and turns to face you. What kind of courtesy have you learned in your filthy homeland? A red stripe of paint gleams, pearly with sweat from cheekbone to cheekbone. We speak of Glenfartham matters. Begone. The huntress in the group raises her calloused hand. Still your heart, Redeye? Do not forget where you stand. She parts the fine strands of golden hair that float before her face and acknowledges you with a nod. In the house of our ancestors and the 6 tribes, we commune as one people. Redeye looks away and fumes in restrained breath. The ancestors will forgive me and my brother when I clean the shame away from his name. He looks at the huntress, and from the taint that is brought to our tribe. What happened to your brother? My brother. The hunter's heavy breathing pauses for a minute. My brother, Fiom, is the greatest hunter of our tribe. He set out on a blood hunt but hasn't returned. And now, Arthwin, that puny liar, he claims it, my brother. Redeye clenches his fists. The elven huntress fills in silence. Arthwin belongs to another tribe. He is the hunter that competed against Fiom during their blood hunt. She gives a glancing look to Redeye. Arthwin claims that Fiom has exiled himself, deciding not to return to Twin Elms. Redeye scowls. The stripe of paint curves like an angry wound. Exiled, in shame, for losing to him during the blood hunt. Can you believe this liar? No, Captain, we don't believe liars. That's right. Even though Arthur returned with the giant Stelgar's fang as proof, it's hard to believe that Fiorm would have failed to kill the prey first. Huntress digs her heel in the dark soil. Dark soil? You may wonder, but that is dirt in the center of the room. But you cannot claim that yet, Redeye. Not until the Adam Partha judge the truth. Arthwin's weak, from a lower tribe. Redeye bares his teeth. He lies. I'll find the truth and clear my brother's name. Why would Arthwin lie about your brother? Redeye throws his arms in the air. Why? He looks at you as if the answer were obvious. Redeye, please, still your anger. He does not know our customs. Huntress turns to you and nods. Arthwin stands much to gain from claiming a victory over Fiorm. It brings renown and glory to his kin, unless a tribe that twice split arrows. Arthwin has no history, no name, and he returns a hero, while my brother... Redeye's face twists in ire. Tricked. Perhaps worse. No. Tricked. Perhaps worse. You mentioned a blood hunt? What is that? We prove our worth in a blood hunt. We set out to stalk and prey. Always a dangerous creature, and only one kills it first. The elven huntress interrupts with an exasperated sigh. Yes, but we hunt as pairs to bond as to bond as Glenfarthern, as one, not as enemies. 2 hunters, 2 tribes, 1 spirit. That is our way. Retired glowers in response. Our way isn't to lie. We don't betray our brothers and sisters for our own gain. The blood hunt between your brother and Arthwin has broken the communion of our tribes, Redeye. Do not dig in this wound until you can claim the truth. She turns again to face you. Perhaps our customs appear strange to you, but despite what you now see, we make Glenfarthern's hold our bond sacred. How do you plan to clear Fium's name? A bead of sweat rolls down Redeye's forehead and hangs from his red-painted cheekbone like a drop of blood. It quivers as the hunter's muscles twitch. I can't tarry here while my brother's fate remains unknown. The Anamfather must let me go. To judge Arthwin, to clear our tribe's name, they cannot listen only to your truth. The huntress lobs her head, glancing at you. Before the Anamfather, only an impartial voice can speak for what happened. Here we go. Redeye whips his neck, and a drop of sweat lingering in his cheekbone flies in your direction. You mean to involve this one? An Estramore? Honest 3. She points at him, her gallus finger curved like a claw. Listen to me now. Arthwin returned, with proof. Your brother did not even come back. The huntress blows against the fine hairs floating down over her face. The tribes are split. Something must be done. She looks at you, and this one is known to speak the truth. One vote for 2 already from Luxie. 1. No promises, but if I find anything, I'll let you know. 2. As an Estramore, I can look into this without risking tension between your tribes. 3. I will find what happened to your brother and get to the truth of it. And 4. What do I care about your petty troubles? I've got more important things to resolve in this city. While true is just kind of mean, you could say. The game doesn't give you an option to politely say no thanks. I guess politely is taking option 1. Column King, good to see you tonight. Just picking 4. Of course. Well, that's 1 vote for 2, 1 vote for 4. Just in time indeed. Yeah, we are coming close to the end of tonight, and I have rambled a bunch, nearly as much as Final Fantasy II, where I am talking essentially the whole time because not much happens. I got like a revelation about that one. I will tell you about soon. On Wednesday night, in fact. That's 2 votes for 2. I like that one. Sorry, Golem King. We're not calling him a dick. We can pull rank. The funny thing is, Kane, I'm going to press number 2. As an Estro means as an outsider. It's like an anti-rank. Redeye turns to face you, his hard features betraying no emotion, and nods. You're right in claiming this. The Anamfather would agree to listen. There's no union between you and our tribes. The Huntress nods at you. Fium and Althon went to the Northweald Forest, beyond the Old Song Pass, to hunt a giant Stalgar. Search there and return to us with the truth if you can. But be aware, Stalgar of such size, many times over their lesser king, usually gather a big pride that follows them closely. Redeye fixes his eyes on you, 2 glowing embers over the blood-red stripe painted across his face. Estramore, I don't expect help, but I'll do anything to know of my brother's fate, and to clean the stain that Arthwin has spilled on our tribe. He throws his chin back. Anything. This I claim. Anything? Oh my. It is relatively important to say that, like, Hiravius doesn't speak up a lot here. At least not so far. I know if you bring Hiravius to the front gate, he talks a bit more. Adds a little more context. Remember that Hiravius doesn't like it here. He grew up in a druid circle and they did not accept him because he turns into a white Stalgar. Oh, hey, Grumpy Protector! Do not try my patience, Estramore. You shall not pass without permission of the Anamfather. I come to see the cornerstone with the blessing of the guided compass. The guard scowls and looks at his companion, who nods back. He turns to you, his knuckles whitening around the shaft of his spear. Always too cozy with the Estremorn. Go then, and mind your step around the sacred stones. Sock it! Yes, I very deliberately walked to the same one we nearly killed. Lorelei Rosethorn is a name. Well, we'll find them. Yes, but it is gold. It is a backer NPC. Which I skip because they're opportunities for backers to put their cool OC into a character. It's not terrible, it's just it doesn't add much to not plot, no. Not even side plot, I'm afraid. Well, I better save the game. We've strictly entered Act 3, right? This is it. The majority of Act 3 happens in Twin Elms. The same way the majority of Act 2 happens in Defiance Bay, but you travel out a little bit. Nearly everything we do is happening in Elms Reach. There's a Golden Grove, we'll talk to some druids. The Hall of Warriors, Blood Sands, Tear Everon. Walking through this gate essentially ends the game. A little bit of a tease, but like we have been playing for some time, and it's good for you to know that we're coming close to the end. We're going to do all the side quests, because of course we are. Right? Hell yeah we are. But, I hope you're prepared. Well, it was fun tonight. We finished the White March. Good job, everybody. Ooh, thank you very much for joining me tonight. I will see you Wednesday night again for Final Fantasy II. In the meantime, I suggest you spend your Tuesday night checking out Full Security, because she plays every Tuesday night. It'll be good fun. And does more random games as well, so you don't get stuck into the same plot. Greater chance of enjoying what's going on. Anyway, well, thanks, Luxie. I do appreciate that. Those dialogue choices with big world thing, like divine things, makes me feel good. I enjoy. I actually really enjoy, weirdly enough, feeling small, plot-wise, where you influence and have power, but in the end you are hopelessly outclassed. It means the things you do and say have more effect. Like, we convinced Andra that she was wrong, partially. She maybe tried to beat us in the end, but we survived. I think that's pretty cool. You feel better about the Eyeless coming to in a way? Yeah. We'll talk more about it later. Anyway, thanks very much for joining me. And cheers to everyone in the VODs, especially Hendo. I hope you catch up tonight as well. We'll see you again. Good night.